Today, I met the love of my life. Her name is Juniper Sumac.
She seemed kind of off to me.
Why would you think that? Tell me.
It's her eyes. They're just so dark. I feel like she was going to eat me or something.
I get that a lot.
Hell really broke the mold. They released her.
And she is everything.
Something's amiss at Juniper's house. Available everywhere this Valentine's Day.
I hate to say it, but his parents have been feeling unwell as of late, and I'm staying with them to help take care of Alex.
Oh, so that's serious.
Oh, no, it's not serious. Nothing terminal. It's just a touch of consumption.
And welcome back to Horror Queers. We're talking, I knew you was false. I knew it. We're talking, Mother, we have longed to see you so. And we're talking, did you not think I saw thy sluttish looks to him, bewitching his eye as any whore? And I'm Joe.
And I'm Trace, and we're talking One Very Dead Baby.
Oh, wow. We're just going with the dead baby right off the top, are we?
I mean, the movie does.
You know what? That is true. That is fair.
Everyone, we are talking Robert Eggers' The Witch for its 10th anniversary.
Yes, we are. And I think that this basically caps off all of Eggers' films. So we have now touched on all 4 of them.
Oh, God, we have. So we covered The Witch last out of all of these things?
We did indeed. Yeah.
That's kind of wild. Well, okay, I'm really excited to dive into this, Joe, but I'm even more excited to introduce our guest who is waiting in the wings. So I'm going to go ahead and bring her in, all right?
All right.
All right, everyone. Well, she is a film and pop culture critic and podcast producer with a focus on genre cinema. You've seen her work at Empire, BBC, Arrow Video, Second Sight Films, Shudder, and many others. You can also hear her voice on her Hammer Horror podcast, Hammer Time, and on her guest appearances on the Evolution of Horror podcast, as well as the Final Girls podcast. Please welcome Becky Darke.
Hi, hello.
Hello.
My God, that was such a nice introduction. Thank you. That makes it sound like I'm way more important than I actually am. It's so nice to be here.
Well, thank you for having a website with a bio.
You're so welcome.
Truthfully, though, you're like prolific because I had I had to edit this down to be like, okay, what are the most like the coolest things? This was what I came up with.
Yeah, I mean, I'm busy. I'm busy.
Yes.
Everybody knows if you work in kind of film, like criticism or podcasting or writing or whatever, us like to call what we do. You've got to have your fingers in lots of pies, and I've got my fingers in lots of pies. So yeah, it's great.
It's booked and busy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But Becky, so I mean, I guess I'm assuming this was not your first time watching The Witch, correct?
It was not. I reckon this is probably watch number 5, I would say.
Okay.
So yeah, and I mean, I love it every single time. I'm a big fan of Robert Eggers, but for me, he started strong and has never quite reached the heights of The Witch. This is my absolute favourite of his. So I was really, really happy when this was an option when you asked me to come on the show, because I will talk about this film at length and very happily.
My God, I am so happy to hear you say that. Not just that you're a fan, but also that you feel like maybe some of his later films have not quite hit the same highs. They're not bad per se, but I feel this weird innate sense of almost shame in saying, oh, The Northman doesn't really do it for me. I didn't love Nosferatu in the way that some other people did. Like, still good films, but for me, The Witch and The Lighthouse are where it's at.
Yeah, I think The Lighthouse is the closest he's come to capturing this magic. I'm in the same boat. I don't love The Northman, even though I don't think it's a bad movie. And again, I think Nosferatu is fine, but I wasn't particularly wowed by it.
I need to go back to The Lighthouse. When I've only seen it once, and I didn't love it. I have to say, but you know what it's like if you watch a film like one time, like maybe I was in a bad mood. Right. Like you just never know. Like if you're just not vibing with something. So I definitely need to revisit it, because a lot of people say that it's their If not their favorite, then their second favorite.
After The Witch.
Yeah, well, exactly. I really enjoyed Nosferatu. First watch, didn't love it. Second watch, I thought it really stood up to a repeat viewing, and I got a lot more out of it the second time.
Okay.
And again, The Northman I've only seen once, and again, you're right. Like, it's good. It's fine. It's a good movie, but for me, nothing yet has quite reached the highs of his first film.
Do we think it's the historical accuracy? I mean, not to say that his other films don't have historical accuracy, they do, but I just feel like the attention to detail in The Witch is unparalleled.
Oh, I disagree, because I think he actually goes overboard on The Northman with the historical accuracy, and it actually ends up eating into part of that film's success for me. Folks, we do have episodes, as we said, on all of these movies, but I was like, oh, with The Northman, it seems like all he wants to do is make it as accurate as possible, whereas with The Witch, for me, it's that synthesis. It's the combination of the two things where, you know, oh my God, he's going overboard with the lighting and making sure that everything looks period appropriate, but he's still telling a really interesting, contained, I would argue, perfectly told story.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I think he strikes the balance so well between his, like, I don't know, almost OCD level obsession with kind of this accuracy, right, which he's so famous for now. But I think even in 2015 when this came out, like, obviously it's his first film, so we didn't really know that was kind of his shtick.
Right, yeah.
And so it came off the screen like so impressively. And the balance is just right for me. And I mean, I'm a horror hound. And the thing is about The Witch is still, it scares the shit out of me.
Right.
It's so scary. And I remember like the build up to it and the like seeing the trailer and stuff and thinking like this looks like it's going to be something special. It looks like it's going to be genuinely terrifying. And like, obviously, if you're a horror fan, you're always kind of chasing that high, right?
the
like
dragon,
being genuinely scared.
But I feel like this was also kind of the start, I mean, like of the A24 like horror boom, where like this was kind of setting the tone of like what people would come to expect from A24 horror. Because you're right, like I remember when this came out, like, and this is I believe pre It Follows, or maybe the year after It Follows.
It's the year after.
Okay. But it was like, I remember one of the reviews and the trailer was like, oh, it feels like something we're watching that we shouldn't be watching. But I also remember at the time when it came out, because of all this hype, a lot of people walked out of this movie saying, well, that was really boring.
Oh, yes. That was the experience I had when I saw it here in Toronto. So I went to see it on opening weekend with my husband, and our audience was maybe a quarter full, and there were a bunch of horror bros. And yes, I'm going to specifically gender them because it was men in the audience who did not connect emotionally to this story. And I overheard them talking at the end of the film being like, what the fuck was all the hype about? That wasn't scary. That wasn't very good. Like, they were bored during this. And all I could think of was, it's like we watched two different movies.
Yeah. And like, there are people who say that the Blair Witch Project is boring.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know how you guys feel about it, but for me that is like a perfect horror movie. And again, it's got that kind of like, there's a lot of similarities actually. Obviously they both got witch in the title, but you know, in terms of the even kind of the color palette, and obviously they're both set in very different times, and you know, the kind of making of the film is like, it couldn't be more different in a lot of ways, but they've got like a lot of shared DNA. And I can understand that like people can come away from them feeling frustrated if you're expecting one thing and not another. But if you go in in the right frame of mind, I mean, this is just perfect horror filmmaking for me.
I think it's because, though, whenever someone hears X movie is like really scary, it's one of the scariest movies ever made, everyone has their very own specific idea of what being scared is. And to me, and granted, I liked this movie the first time I watched it. I didn't find it like terrifying, but I also wasn't walking out being like, well, that wasn't the scariest thing I've ever seen. But I do think it's like the verisimilitude of this movie is what makes it scary.
I think it's the creeping dread for me. There's just this feeling of inevitability that everything is just going to go so fucking wrong. And I feel like I need to clarify my previous statement. I don't mean to suggest that if you watch this film and you don't connect with it, that it means you're watching it incorrectly. You can dislike this movie everybody gets to have their own opinions. But I just think when you say, oh, well, there's nothing here, or this movie isn't very special, or, you know, it's not doing anything particularly new or exciting, it's like, oh, I don't know. I'm going to need you to unpack that because I can't agree with those sentiments.
That's the key. You can dislike any movie, but it seems like for a lot of people, the dislike for this one was a write-off of like, oh, it didn't scare me. That's the end of the story.
Yeah. Throw the film into the bin. We're done. Okay.
It's one of those ones that probably it didn't benefit from marketing for that type of audience, because it will have definitely, I can guarantee this, that someone somewhere will have called this the scariest film since The Exorcist.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
At any time.
Strike it from the marketing forever. Stop doing that.
But that's also assuming that people nowadays think The Exorcist is scary, which most people...
A bunch of people don't.
Yeah.
Wow, it's the scariest movie since Hereditary. Ugh.
It's a death knell for some films, because it would be like, you know, oh my God, it's the scariest thing since. Yeah. And it's like, well, you're right. Either you don't think that's scary anyway, so you've lost them immediately, or they go in expecting something that it then isn't, and it doesn't sort of deliver for them, and then they write it off.
Yeah. It benefits no one except the person who got the pull quote.
100%.
Yes. Says all of us who are writing our reviews, like, what's a good pull quote I can put in here?
Just let me backspace on my pull quote for movie X now.
And Joe, I'm assuming, because this would have been around the time you were really getting into like the journalism industry, I feel like. So did you see this at a festival when it came out?
I did not see this at a festival, no. So I just checked it out when it came to theaters in 2016. And it was one of those things where I just thought, okay, this is getting a lot of advanced praise. People are, they're being very hyperbolic in the marketing. And I was excited to check it out, but I also thought it might be appropriate for a broader audience, because you're right, Trace. We didn't exactly know what A24 was, basically what A24 was going to become. Yeah. But I'm always on the hunt for films that aren't so horrific that I can bring my non-horror loving husband to. And I thought, well, this one looks atmospheric as opposed to fucking jump scare the movie.
Yeah, I mean, but I go back to, they pulverize a baby in the first 10 minutes of this movie, which, admittedly, though, I think if you aren't an attentive viewer, I think you can miss that that's what's happening in that scene.
Yeah, definitely. Really? And again, that comes down to like the low lighting, because you're literally in like a witch's hut. Yeah. So she's got like one light source, and that's all they're using. But yeah, I mean, she's got the biggest pestle and mortar known to humanity.
A baby-sized pestle and mortar.
Literally. And she's
like
basically
Bed
making...
Bath & Beyond. Did they make this version, baby, suitable for crushing up babies?
Well, but you're like, oh, is she churning butter? Because butter does play a prominent role in the climax of this movie.
Sure.
It's like, no, she's making pate, basically. Like,
oh my God. You're not wrong, but oh my God.
Yeah. But okay, well, why don't I get in? Because, I mean, as I said, there was a lot of research done for this movie. So let's go through this, and then we can start going through the plot. Oh, one thing I wanted to add, though, I do think maybe a reason that this movie is really successful for me, too, is that it's only 90 minutes long. And I was really kind of shocked when I saw that runtime, especially since like a lot of his other films have gotten longer like, as he makes them, especially The Northman, which is like 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah, I do love a movie that knows when to get out. And this movie, I think, is perfectly paced, and the runtime is, it's exquisite.
I love it so much.
Yeah, agreed. It's like, it's lean. You said earlier how, it's a horror story perfectly told. And you're so right. There's no fat on this at all.
No,
it's
not at all.
Gorgeous.
Well, okay, so I want to start by saying, like, with the typeface of the title, the way it's stylized with the witch is the 2 V's. So
say it properly.
The Vivitch. No, people don't call it that, please. It's really annoying.
Please don't.
But so basically, Edgar says, in the period, when you're looking at documentation from this time period, you see a lot of period sources with the double V's instead of the W. But Edgar says he's only seen the VV on larger type sizes, like the equivalent of a 36 to a 72 point font. But basically, whenever they ran out of a W, or if they didn't have a W, they would break it up because they didn't want to buy another one, so they would just use the 2 V's to make up for it. So it was a money-saving effort.
Oh, wow.
It's like working Scrabble.
It's like trying to buy a vowel on, Wheel of Fortune or something, like, oh, I can't afford the W, so I'll just go with 2 V's.
Well, also, at least for English, I don't know why we don't call this a double V, because like in Spanish, W is called W, which is double V. So, yeah, there you go. Maybe it's the lowercase W.
Maybe.
I don't know. Okay, so The Witch, yes. Feature directorial debut of Robert Eggers, who would go on to, direct the films we've all named, The Lighthouse, The Northman, Nosferatu. Eggers grew up in New England, specifically southern New Hampshire, and grew up hearing about the Salem witch trials. And I should point out that The Witch is set about 60 years before the Salem witch trials would have started.
We don't get an exact time period in this film, do we?
I think it's meant to be, I want to say
1600s.
Like 1630s-ish, around there.
Okay.
But he would also hear folklore about other witches and legends throughout the area, some of which were based on fact. Others were just kids, being kids, talking about creepy houses in the neighborhood saying a witch lived there. But when he was a kid, he would get his parents to drag him to Salem, Massachusetts every Halloween, and he was always disappointed that the witches weren't real. So This is the childhood, kernel that birthed the eventual witch that we would come to know.
Also, tell us that you're a horror fan without telling us you're a horror fan. Oh, I wanted the witches to be real. And then it's like, let's make a movie where a witch just kills children.
Oh, and that she does. I should point out, too, I'm pulling most of this from an interview with Robert Eggers for Awards Daily. The interview was held by Jazz 10K, as well as the commentary Robert Eggers has on the Blu-ray for this film, which, I gotta say, he is quite conversational and easy to listen to.
Oh, he seems super knowledgeable, but also very approachable and easygoing.
Mm-hmm. Now, when he decided to make The Witch, he had already had a few short films under his belt, most notable of which is an adaptation of Edgar Allan Poe's The Telltale Heart in 2008. But he had pitched a few feature-length films and was unable to secure financing for any of them. He says because they were a bit too obscure and niche. So he realized he was going to have to do something that was a bit more accessible, and The Witch was it.
Interesting. Becky, would you call this film approachable? I mean, I know I said that I took my husband to it because he's a bit horror-averse, but this to me still feels, it's a little niche-y, is it not?
It's funny. I think for non-horror fans, I guess the big monsters are witches, vampires, zombies, and werewolves, right?
Yeah.
So I guess, you can probably say to a non-rabid horror fan, there's a historical film about a witch and witchcraft. It's from this kind of interesting new director. Do you want to come and see it with me? And then they get there and it's baby pate galore. But I think, to be honest, it probably is. I mean, I would say it's definitely more accessible than The Lighthouse.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe for some people more accessible than The Northman, which is it's much more kind of historical epic, isn't it?
Right.
And, you do have to sort of explain to them about the crazy runtime.
Yes, yeah. What's interesting, too, is that of the monsters that you listed, he'll have crossed most of them off when we get to December's new film by Eggers, The Werewolf.
The Werewolf. Yeah, oh my
When's
God.
he doing zombies?
Oh, my God.
Come on, Eggers.
Maybe that's his plan. He's just going to now start working through all the major horror monsters.
Yeah,
Love
that'd be
that for
amazing. I want him to remake, I Walked with a Zombie or something kind of, really old school.
I do wonder if he's ever going to want to do a remake again after Nosferatu, because I feel like his Nosferatu was like Del Toro's Frankenstein, where it's the one thing he's been wanting to do for years, and now that it's done, now we know what he's doing next, but what comes after that?
Yeah, the checkbox. Oh, I've accomplished the things I really want to do.
Now, The Witch, he says, took 5 years to make, but it took 4 years, I guess 4 of those 5, to write, research, and get it financed. And
Jesus.
Eggers did a lot of research on the first draft because at the time, no one wanted to make the film. So he wrote a first draft, had 3 years to do more research, working with museums, historians, people within the living history community to add authenticity to his screenplay. He used diaries and journals from people of the period to help with the dialogue. But he also took a lot of notes and made a phrase book of things about farming, things your children could say, and prayers are all based on a Puritan prayer book that has a prayer for every possible situation, including possession. So, the things that the children, Jonas and Mercy, say when they're possessed are the things that children actually said when they were thought to be possessed.
Jesus.
Jonas and Mercy are the scariest things about this film, hands down.
Speaking of children who need to be made into pate.
Those kids are terrifying.
They're in cahoots with Satan the entire movie.
Literally.
That's the thing you have to remember, because I definitely texted Trace in the middle of this watch and just said, oh my God, these children are worse than the child from the Babadook. And Trace was like, well, they are in league with Satan.
Well, and I think the first time I watched this, I kept thinking, oh, maybe it's going to be like not a real witch. There's going to be some kind of real world explanation for it. And so I spent a lot of my first viewing trying to figure out, oh, what's the reveal going to be at the end that it's not actually a witch or whatever, which is not the best way to start to watch this movie, I admit. And again, the reason Eggers is doing all this research is because he wanted that verisimilitude. He said, like, these people really believed that witches were real and that the things the witch does in this movie are things that witches would do to you and your children. So you have to buy into the fact that this is real, not just fantasy.
Yes.
I think it's so interesting because there's the coda that kind of comes up on screen right at the end of the film as a kind of, text. And it says the film was inspired by many folk tales, fairy tales, and written accounts of historical witchcraft, including journals, diaries, etc. So that's what you've just said.
Yes.
But it's interesting to me that they put fairy tales in there because the witch, when she is in the wood, especially when she comes out and she's kind of young and beautiful to lure Caleb in, and she's got that bright red cloak, obviously she's beautiful looking, that dark hair, and then it all sort of turns into, apples and things like that. Like it really feels very Snow White, another kind of, witch-based fairy tales. And so it's just interesting to me to kind of mention, I guess, that it's so rooted in the historical accuracy, but also I love that they are still pulling in these kind of recognizable witchy tropes, but sort of, I don't know, like still managing to weave that in and make it feel authentic, if that makes sense.
And I have not seen every witch-related media out there. Like, the bulk of my witch knowledge really comes from, I don't know, Scooby-Doo. But I do think that this is this is one of the meanest witches we've seen in cinema, at least to my knowledge, and a witch who's not even on screen for, more than 5 minutes of this movie?
If that, yeah.
What do you think the title The Witch refers to? Do you think it refers to the witch in the wood?
No.
Do you think it refers to Thomasin?
Yes.
You do, yeah.
I do, personally.
Because you could also view this as a coming-of-age tale, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time.
Now, whether we call this a good for her film, we can debate at the climax.
No, we will not. We will just proudly say this is easily one of the best good for her texts that we have had in the last 20 years.
Well, I want to elaborate on that as we go through, because I'm sure some people might be wondering, well, why is that the case? She signs up a deal with Satan and lives as a witch for the rest of her life.
Because fuck this family.
But that's how they lived back then.
I know, but fuck them anyway.
Absolutely fuck them. And I'm sorry, but it's, if you have the choice of continuing living like that after the trauma that she's just been put through by the people who are supposed to love and look after her, or do you get butter and pretty dresses and power and living deliciously? Sign me up.
Do y'all think
every
that
time
living
the
delicious,
latter every time?
Do y'all think that doesn't come with like some fine print in the contract? We don't know that in this. Again, I'm not even disagreeing with y'all here. I do think this is a good for her movie, but given the fact that it is about a girl who signs up with Satan, I think that some people might watch this and be like, well, that's not a happy ending.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so because Eggers felt that the physical world of the film needed to be as authentic as possible to reality, the film would require a relatively high price tag for a first-time filmmaker. So he could not find a way to make this movie for less than $3.2 million. And the final budget was $3.5 million.
Okay. My God,
which is
so
amazing
good.
considering it's just like twigs and candles.
I thought the same thing. And he noted that if he could have made it for $1 million, he would have gotten it made a lot more easily.
Right. Yeah. I do wonder, this to me feels like a creative integrity, like artistic integrity piece, because I'm sure he could have made this for $1 million. It's just he would have had to sacrifice some of the authenticity.
Yeah, absolutely.
He is clearly like a stickler for details, because there's a part in the commentary where it's either an end of scene shot, or it's an established. So it's either a transitional shot or an establishing shot, but it's just like a shot of like the top of the forest with the skyline. And he just goes, I fucking hate hate this shot. I really hate it. It doesn't serve a purpose in this movie. I would have done something different, but it's such a lazy filmmaking shot. And I'm like, this is literally just like, oh, before we move to the next scene, here's a shot of the skyline.
Like, why are you getting so bent up out of shape out of it? Oh, okay. Like, that is the thing. He strikes me as a true cinephile, and he wants to get it correct. Like, he has a vision and he has to execute.
Yeah, I think it was just too standard. Like, he would have done something a bit more, with some maybe a bit more pizzazz, but it's just, I guess, as it is, he thinks it's a boring shot and the most useless one of the film.
Fair, yeah.
But he does think it's satisfying to understand how people in the past lived. And I gotta say, as I get older, the older I get, the more I agree with this. Like, the older I get, the more I find myself caring about history.
Good, yes. If not, we are doomed to repeat it. See current horrible times.
Yes, but he didn't think the film would work if we, the audience, couldn't be in these characters' mindsets. If we couldn't understand that witches are a reality and they were an accepted reality in that time period, if we couldn't get there, then the movie wasn't going to work. So again, my issue with my first time viewing of this movie.
Right.
Now, this extended to the character's religion to make it easier to understand what witches meant and how these English settlers taught them to be this misunderstood part of reality. And then to the language the character spoke, which was a complaint that I did hear at the time when it came out, but people could not understand what they were saying. This was a big hurdle in getting the thing financed because obviously, Edgar said, they have to speak like they did in the 1630s. And this insistence that the characters speak that way scared off many potential financiers because they thought it might be too alienating for audiences. But he did get it financed, which is why we see about 100 production companies listed at the start of the film.
Yeah.
In the commentary, Eggers points this out and says, yeah, this is really obnoxious. That's why I have a very, very, very long black screen after those before the actual movie starts, because I'm trying to make the audience forget about all those production companies they just saw.
Everybody take a breath, just settle in. Now the movie will begin. But yeah, I mean, I've been to screenings. I'm sure, Becky, you and Trace have both experienced this where, like, I think, oh God, it was Late Night with the Devil. I saw it in a theater, and there's, I think about 10 or 12 different production houses or financiers that get their own card. And I think as soon as you get past about 7 or 8, people just start to laugh or make fun of it.
Yeah.
Which is fine if you are going for a certain tone, but like you can't have people laughing at the start of The Witch.
No, I know. Isn't it a Family Guy gag where they literally call out this whole thing about the kind of logos and stuff for all the different production companies, and they're like, you never know if it's the animated logo for the company or whether it's the start of the movie.
Yes.
And so, I don't know, it will be like somebody walking along a beach and Peter will say something like, oh, this looks good. Like, it's a film that starts with somebody walking on a beach. Like, it must be set by the shore or whatever. And then it's like, no, it comes up and it's like Beach Productions. And that like keeps happening. Like, that's what it feels like, because they're all so intricate as well.
Yeah. It's like I'm leaning forward in my seat and I'm like, all right, the movie's going to start. We have been waiting for so long to see it's going to start. And then it's like, no, that's just a production company. Oh, well, the production company.
Rinse, repeat, do it about a dozen more times. Yeah.
Coming back to the thing you were saying about like their accents and people not being able to understand what they were saying. Mm-hmm. I wonder if being English, I find it easier to understand them because they've got a very specific accent. And one of the things that I think is so remarkable about Anya Taylor-Joy's performance actually is how she nails her like North English accent.
Yeah. Right.
And Ralph Ineson is from that part of the world anyway. Kate Dickey, I believe, is Scottish. And the irony being that I personally find her North English accent the least convincing out of all of the actors in this film. Because she's literally from a different country. Like, that's fine. Like, Scottish accents and North English accents are really different. Like, that's fine. But I think it just always amuses me that Anya Taylor-Joy's accent is so spot on and Kate Dickey appears to be struggling with it a little bit. But I've never had any trouble like hearing and following what they're saying. Whereas, like, if I watch something like The Wire, I have to have the subtitles on.
That's hilarious to me. Yeah, I mean, true, because I just watch everything with subtitles now. So I do remember having not a big issue. Like, it wasn't a big. It's kind of like Shakespeare, where it's like their performances also do a lot of the communicating for me. So even if I don't fully understand what they're saying, like, I get the intent based on the performance. And so, but I watch everything with subtitles ever since. So like, when I rewatched this for this week, I absolutely had the subtitles turned on.
I will say, though, I think you can appreciate the intricacy of the dialogue better if you can read it, because I remember not struggling with it, but kind of similar to what you're talking about, Trace, where I had to adapt to it. Like, I probably missed some details early in the film as my brain was saying, oh, this is ye old English, so you're going to have to adjust a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and so when it comes to this, though, so actually piggybacking off of what Becky just said, so he only cast the actors who could speak the dialogue fluidly, with Eggers noting that it's not something you can teach. He needed actors who it came easy to. So, like, different...
Oh, that's why we didn't get Mark Wahlberg in this movie.
Different people had different levels of research. The adults had one thing. The children had a documentary about the first Thanksgiving, only because little kids in the UK don't know American history. They did have a week of rehearsal where they learned to use all the farming tools.
Oh, neat.
This was filmed in Toronto, Canada.
Yes.
They wanted New England, but settled on Toronto for tax purposes, unsurprisingly.
I was going to say, because we gave them a deal. That's why.
Yeah. This was filmed in March of either 2013 or I would say 2014 probably is when it was filmed. IMDb was telling me like December 2013, and Eggers very specifically said we filmed this in March. So I'm just going to say that.
This is why you need to always vet a little bit for IMDb, because, of course, everyday people can just add to that as well. So
they bought corn the previous fall so that it would actually look rotten for the shoot. So all the corn is real and the rot is real.
That's good, because that corn looks
disgusting,
deeply unappetizing.
Yeah. When he's like, I'm going to find something to trade for medicine, I just thought, well, it isn't going to be that fucking corn, I'll tell you that much.
There's the bit as the film is really starting to get to the point where the shit's hitting the fan, and he knows that he's going to have to go into town, and they're talking about taking Thomasin in to trade her to another family and all of this kind of thing. And they're literally just, they've kind of shredded all the crops of all of the corn that they could possibly get.
Yeah.
And you've got Kate and Thomasin in the background, like just kind of going through it meticulously, trying to find anything that looks even vaguely edible and kind of saleable. But yeah, I mean, it's the most miserable farm you'll ever see.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
This is destitute farm.
I mean, they're screwed from the get-go. Yes. Now, Ralph Ineson, who plays Williams, researched, lost weight, and chopped wood outside London in preparation for the role. Kate Dickie, Catherine, became really obsessed with that Puritan prayer book. There were apparently in the screenplay like a few places where it just said Catherine is praying. So she had the book on her iPad and would walk around set in costume, just constantly reading the prayer book.
Oh, jeez.
It's funny that it was on an iPad, though. That's
like, could you imagine like just wandering onto this film set in Toronto?
Yeah, where is that behind the scenes footage, right?
At first, the plot was going to be that he actually sold her iPad rather than the silver cup, but they were like,
Yes.
we don't think that's quite accurate enough.
Now, for the lighting on set, Eggers points out that he wasn't going to set up stylized lighting when the characters would have only had a candle at the time. But this suited his taste anyway, because it's rare that he finds stylized lighting, especially in a period piece, to be something that he likes. So what he did here was do sculpted, naturalistic light. And for the candles, it's a Hollywood trick, apparently. You put 3 wicks in them instead of 1 to make them brighter.
Yeah, I will say the lighting is the thing I always come away appreciating the most, because when it's dark in this movie, it looks fucking dark.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing around them, right? There's no electricity here.
It's like inky black, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
I've got to say, though, if it cost him $3.5 million, like, that's why, because everybody knows that the multi-wick candles are the expensive ones at the store. Everybody knows that.
So pricey. Oof.
Yeah. For visuals, I want to point out that all the supernatural moments are shot at 27 or 29 frames per second instead of the standard 24 frames per second. Again, not something that I think you're really going to notice if you're not paying attention to it, but it does give them just a slightly more jarring rhythm to the movements that make them kind of creepier and scarier.
Yeah, it's not Peter Jackson levels, but it's inching towards that.
For the score, which to me, that is the most successful part of the movie for me. The score haunts me. The initial plan was to use just strings. Eggers wanted to use 17th century instruments and psalms that would have been sung a cappella, and then, have these a cappella songs played with these instruments. But he says, this is exactly what he said, and I think it's a little confusing. He says, but with the witchcraft, that would become more like 20th century music. And so I guess what he's saying is like, oh, we can make the music sound a little bit more modern because it's witchcraft and they would have access to sounds that like people of the time wouldn't have had. I'm not sure.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That is a little confusing.
I don't get it. But either way, he talked to composer Mark Corbin, who would go on to do the scores for a great movie in The First Omen and a not great movie in Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City.
Wow.
And to be fair, I bought his score for Resident Evil. It's fine. His score for The First Omen, amazing.
I mean, The First Omen, everybody fucking slept on that movie. We all tried to tell you that it was great, and then nobody supported it. So, Arkasha Stevens, we owe you a debt.
But Corbin told Eggers, we should have voices, the voices of the forest. And that led to much of the power of the score coming from the vocal work from the Elemental Choir. And yeah, I love all the choral stuff in this movie.
I just love a fucking choir.
Yeah. It's incredible. Like, and it's funny what Eggers was saying about him hating that shot of the trees and the sky and stuff, because I think that is instrumental actually in like setting up the dread and where specifically a lot of the dread in this film is coming from. And there is a shot really early on, and it might be the one that you're referencing, where you've literally just got the woods and this wailing like choral female notes kind of going over the top of it, and immediately your whole body reacts. It's like, I want to run away from those woods.
Yeah.
It just shows how isolated they are. And it's not that shot. Maybe that is it. Maybe it's because he had too many similar shots. Again, the one you're talking about being the big one, where he's like, it just felt repetitive. I don't know.
Know what would have helped if we had to flip the camera upside down? Sorry.
Very common nowadays. Okay, so The Witch had its world premiere at the Sundance Film Festival on January 27th, 2015. So just over 11 years ago, which, Jesus Christ. A24 and DirecTV Cinema acquired it for distribution on February 16th, and the film continued on the festival circuit for the remainder of the year. So, and that's where I think I saw this at my very first Fantastic Fest in 2015 that year. But it got a theatrical release a year later on February 19th, 2016. Happy 10th. Opening in the number 4 spot with $8.8 million. But I do want to point out, this opened in more than 2,000 screens, and originally it was not going to do that.
Yeah, they were going to platform it, weren't they?
Yeah, but apparently they had extremely positive reactions at advanced screenings, which I'm guessing would have taken place in like, well, maybe it's all the festival stuff, but then maybe screenings in December and January, but
probably, yeah.
A24 and DirecTV Cinema, which, Jesus Christ, they changed their minds. Like, yeah, we're going to open this in 2,000 screens. So for the first 2 weeks of release, it was playing in over 2,000 screens. The only other major new release the week this came out was a Jesus Christ movie called Risen, some biblical like epic film, which did do better than this opening weekend, by the way. Deadpool was still kind of reigning the box office at this time.
Right.
But either way, The Witch went on to gross $25.1 million domestically and $15.3 million overseas for a worldwide gross of $40.4 million, again, against that production budget of $3.5 million. So, I mean, this was profitable, or at least broke even after its first weekend.
There we go. Yeah, it's a savvy investment on A24's part.
It was critically acclaimed. We're looking at a 91% on Rotten Tomatoes, and Letterboxd users have given this a 3.8 out of 5. Before I pass this off to you, Joe, I had this note. I didn't know really where to put it, but like in one of these interviews with Eggers, where they're talking about the religion of the film, and Eggers really says, "I prefer to keep my religion private." Like, he will not talk about his religion. Now, granted, this is from back in 2015, 2016. Maybe he's changed his mind since. A cursory Google search didn't pull up any results for me, but I just thought that was interesting because I confess I get a little defensive. Whenever someone says, "Oh, I don't want to talk about my religion," because I'm just like, why? Why don't you want to talk about your religion? I mean, I get why, but I don't know.
The personal private divide, but this does feel very personal, right? Like I feel as if it's difficult to escape the fact that, you know, some people have definitely said, oh, this feels like a critique of Christianity. And you would want to know how Robert Eggers feels about that personally. Like, was that a driving factor in the production of this film? Trace, I'm not sure if you were going to mention it, but I did discover, Becky, I'm not sure if you knew this, but the Satanic Temple apparently endorsed this movie.
Yeah. When I can't believe I forgot about this. Yeah. So they actually came to Austin, Texas when this was doing the PR rounds like the week before before its release, and they did a screening with members of the Satanic Temple, and then
That's
afterwards,
right. I remember this.
we all went to a bar, and they did like some satanic ritual, which involved naked people. I mean, again, I definitely wrote a piece about this for Bloody Disgusting. Like, they gave you a flag for the Satanic Temple, but again, like as someone who was like raised Catholic, like I mean, and is not particularly religious anymore, but like it was interesting because like I don't know, the Satanic Temple. It's not what people think. Yeah, exactly. And I would recommend people go watch that. Oh, what's that documentary that it was called? Hail Satan.
Yes,
about the Satanic Temple. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. So, they had a spokesperson named Jex Blackmore, and she said that basically they believe that the film will signal the call to arms for a satanic uprising against the tyrannical vestiges of bigoted superstitions and will hearken a new era of liberation and unfettered inquiry. And I think for some people that sounds very sacrilegious, but if you start to dig into why they ended up endorsing the film and why they thought that this was really important. So Blackmore also says the film itself shows the results of a patriarchal, theocratic society in the microcosm of the family. There is an interest in controlling a female figure and then dictating to her what her role is in a society that benefits males. So the real reason they endorsed this is because they felt that it was both religiously, but also the patriarchy was to blame for all of the problems in this movie. And I feel like that's a message we can all get behind.
Definitely. So they 100% see this as a good for her movie.
Yes, correct.
But despite Satan being typically embodied as a male figure, is Satan outside of the patriarchy?
I think it's because this is a female-driven coven that we see at the end of the film. But also, if you think about it, like so much of the film is about Thomasin recognizing her emerging power as a young woman.
I guess, and I'm going to continue to push back on all these because I find the conversation fascinating. But it's like, yeah, sure, like they're free, they have butter, they're naked, they're dancing, they're flying. They're still serving a male figure.
Yeah, I guess because we don't have enough information about what exactly signing the book means. Like, I think for me, it's more about, they've given their soul over. So, like, they're maybe not going to get into heaven now, but it does mean that they get to do whatever the fuck they want now.
Again, for their living lives, which is a blip in terms of, like, eternity. So they have fun in life, but they're suffering for all eternity in hell.
Yeah, I feel like there's a moment in this movie, I can't remember the exact line, but Thomasin says, I think early in the film, that, like, there's no part of her life that she enjoys. Like, there's nothing that she likes. It's all just kind of doom and gloom.
And also, what teenager have you ever met who thinks, like, beyond,
Oh,
the immediate.
Like
Sure.
the next 18 months, if that, like nobody's thinking, no one's thinking about retirement and saving for their pensions and what's happening, after you die. People are thinking, my life sucks.
Absolutely.
And I want some butter and a pretty dress.
But that's the thing where it's especially like really like intense religious people. It's like, yeah, you're meant to suffer in life and you're supposed to get through it because, again, the reward is eternity in paradise. So your, 80 to 100 years that you live on this earth is but a blip in eternity. So you should get through suffering in life. That's what life is meant to be.
Ooh, I just think it's so hard to believe that, especially if you are Thomasin in this film, because people who are telling you that are people like William. And she denounces him as a hypocrite because he doesn't embody any of these actual principles. It's like, well, why should I believe you? Why shouldn't I? Yes, go for the butter, the beautiful dresses, the powers, and so on. Because I mean, I don't even know if I believe in any of the afterlife stuff.
And I guess that's something, though, where it's like, yeah, does Thomasin believe in the afterlife? And it doesn't even apply for this time period. In today's time, do you believe in the afterlife? Is your suffering and, being a quote-unquote good person worth it on the risk that the afterlife doesn't exist and we just cease to exist when we all die? That is the end of our story. So then it's like, oh, well, maybe I should have done some more quote-unquote bad things when I was alive.
Live for the now, babies.
Buy the dress.
Anyway, okay, I'm sorry. I love this. So, Joe, what happens in this movie?
Today, I met the love of my life. Her name is Juniper Suma.
She seemed kind of off to me.
Why would you think that? Tell me.
It's her eyes. They're just so dark. I feel like she was going to eat me or something.
I get that a lot.
Hell really broke the mold. They released her.
And she is everything.
Something's Amiss at Juniper's House. Available everywhere this Valentine's Day.
Okay, so following the title card, we open in Massachusetts in the 1600s, and we focus on the morose and dismayed faces of the children as a mostly unseen William, played by, yes, Ralph Ineson, perfectly cast. He is so great in this movie.
He is so hot in this movie.
Oh, okay. But,
I'm sorry.
No, don't ever apologize for the thirst.
Chopping wood, like topless with just a sheet.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I mean, he's serving Amityville, like rural Amityville hotness.
He really is.
So he is getting banished for challenging this panel of men. And I love that the film makes it clear that he is having a religious disagreement with the members of this community. They live behind a gate, so they are protected. Clearly, we're meant to believe that they support each other. But he has done something worthy of banishment, and he also needs to learn when to shut the fuck up.
So I have the historical context for this, and Edgar said it was kind of not necessarily intentional that he didn't put it in the movie, but there was no way to organically put it in. So one, the first draft of the screenplay actually started with the peekaboo scene that we'll get 7 minutes from now.
Okay.
So we knew nothing about the family at that moment. So Eggers decided that we needed more scope and more understanding of the family's past before we got here. Now, this banishment thing. So when the Pilgrims came over to America, there were some Pilgrims who wanted to purify the Church of England, and then there were separatists who wanted to separate entirely from the Church of England. The Pilgrims who had the first Thanksgiving wanted to separate entirely, but the Pilgrims at the Massachusetts Bay Colony were Puritans. They just wanted to purify the Church. So in this scenario, William is a separatist that has come to a Puritan settlement. He is more pious than them and is probably holier than everyone else in the community in his mind because he wants to separate from the Church of England. And that is against their rules and laws.
I mean, he's definitely serving pious as a slice of pie in this movie. He is just way too extra when it comes to, we need to do absolutely everything. But I do also love the dichotomy between him and Catherine, like watching their power play, their struggles for almost dictating how life should be. I found very fascinating on this rewatch.
Yeah. I think also coming back to what we were just saying about Thomasin and her kind of faith and where she sees her priorities lying. She is basically watching her dad put God and his faith like over the good of his family.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, they all have to leave on this wagon and they go out to the woods and they make this sad farm and, you know, all they've got is like a goat and some chickens and blah, 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 blah. And it's just them.
Yeah.
And so they have been within the safety of this community and now it's just them. And I think, you know, there's got to be something in her mind, especially at her age, as she's just starting to get to that age where kids get to where you start questioning whether your parents are right about everything.
Right. Yeah.
And I think the majority of kids go through this slightly existential crisis where you're like, oh shit, like my parents don't know everything. They're not right about everything. And she is literally at that point where he is making this enormous decision to kind of wrench them away from their safety blanket. And I think that goes a long way to her kind of not initially disrespect, but definitely that towards the end of the film when it sort of goes too far.
Yeah, it's that teenage rebellion that we probably all experienced ourselves even, but the stakes are so much fucking higher here because it assumes that the family can sustain itself independently. And as we will come to learn in that very satisfying scene when she tells William off, he doesn't know fuck all about hunting or farming.
Yeah, I mean, he just really signs his family. Even if there wasn't a witch out in the woods, they probably wouldn't have survived anyway.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, like to go back to town, he has too much pride to be like, we were wrong.
Yeah.
We want to come back and integrate with your society, and we'll try to purify that Church of England with you. We won't separate.
Yeah, because in his darkest moment, he confesses that his sin is pride, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So an interesting moment, we see them riding out on this very sad looking wagon with the single horse and their meager belongings. And we're getting, the chorus. Everything seems a little bit dark and gray and depressing. And I love that we then see them praying in front of the woods as we get that rising choral action. And you just think, we've made a huge fucking mistake.
There's something sinister too, because like you have Catherine Kate Dickie looking at William, and she and granted, I remember when I first saw this, I only knew Kate Dickie from Game of Thrones, and so I something's not right with this character was up immediately. But there's something
we were like, is she going to breastfeed her
right.
adult son? That's what most North Americans assumed of her because of Game of Thrones.
No, just a crow.
Just a crow.
Just a crow. Tits advocate Dickie every fucking time.
Dickie got that titty out in everything I've seen her in.
Yeah, but she's so fucking good in this movie as well.
She is.
I love her.
But there is, because this is meant to be a joyous moment for them. They're praying because they found this plot of land that they're going to live on for the rest of their lives, and they're going to build their own village or whatever. But everything else that's happening in this shot is anything but that. It's so, again, it's like choral music, but it's so ominous and dread-inducing.
Yeah. I do want to point out, too, just because of the time period and the way that we're approaching the sort of religion, the separatist movement and that kind of stuff, I thought it was so fascinating that there's only one mention of indigenous people in this. And it's when Catherine speculates that maybe it's not witchcraft, maybe it's indigenous people put a fucking curse on us. And I was just like, you know what? Go back to your home country. I fucking hate you.
She does say Indian, though, right? We're not using indigenous in this.
Oh, it's definitely not indigenous. No.
Okay, yeah. I gotta say, it is kind of bizarre watching this movie so soon after seeing The Testament of Anne Lee, which takes place around the same time and is also very historically accurate, but more of a musical.
As you are, yes.
As you are.
Okay, so we jump ahead because we see them praying, and then all of a sudden, this cottage is built, the farm has been made. But you're right, it's definitely a little sad looking, Becky. I think the witch is definitely living more deliciously when we see her cottage later on.
Yeah, definitely. And I think you just immediately get that feeling of, you're right, we've made a horrible mistake. This isn't as easy as we thought it was going to be. God isn't necessarily on our side. There's only us here, but we are, scratching an existence.
So question for you two, because really at this point, we've seen Thomasin and we've seen Caleb, who is the oldest boy, played by Harvey Scrimshaw. But it doesn't feel like they're characters, really. It's been the parents making decisions and these kids are just getting dragged along. But our introduction to Thomasin is her praying and saying, I basically strayed from my faith a lot. Do you think we are ever meant to believe she is a witch in this film?
Well, okay, so I have maybe something that can kind of feed this conversation. So Thomasin is based on a real pilgrim woman named Elizabeth Knapp, who was a woman in Massachusetts in the mid-17th century. So this film takes place in the 1630s. She was a woman who was thought to be possessed in the 1670s, specifically 1671 and 1672. And, she was a woman who was having lots of fits and things. Some people thought she was possessed. Eggers truly believes that she thought she was possessed by the devil. So this is who Thomasin is based on. So I guess... Yes, we're meant to believe, but I don't think at this point in time she's conscious or aware of it.
Okay. No. No, absolutely not.
I think she's just frustrated with her siblings.
I mean, she says, I've broken every one of your commandments in thought when she's confessing her sins and kind of praying. But who hasn't? You know what I mean? It's one of these things that... Okay, I am not a religious person. I never has been. I was raised an atheist. So I don't feel super confident in kind of talking about the commandments and the deadly sins and doctrine and all of that kind of stuff. But as a teenage girl, which I can speak from experience on,
there we go.
I can tell you that you're in sort of speech marks sinning every minute of every day. Sure. And I can't imagine that the 1600s was that different to the 1900s when not the 1900s. Yeah, the 1900s when I was and I absolutely do not think at any point that she is meant to be a witch. I think that she is a teenage girl who is the victim of the patriarchy and superstition and religious dogma. And the whole point of the film to me is that at the end of it, she becomes a witch almost as like 2 fingers up to everybody else. Who's like, do you know what? If you are going to treat me like a witch and punish me as if I was one, then if I'm getting the offer to get all that plus the benefits and the power and the butter and the dresses, then fuck you, I'm gonna do it.
And see, that's like my Catholic raising coming in, where I'm like, yeah, that sounds great, but what about once I die and I'm in hell and I'm, you know, being whipped and flayed for all eternity? Like, that's what. And again, I'm not a religious person like nowadays. I consider myself like more agnostic than atheist still. Like, but still, like, I still have like those teachings from my youth where I'm like, but what about when I have to go to hell? Like, and all this fun of my life, which, by the way, like, my life is not that fun.
No, because real life rarely is, right? Like, there are good moments and bad moments. And I think that's the other reason that Thomasin is a little bit susceptible to this. Is it's not just that she's a teenage girl. It's not just that, you know, her parents don't treat her well or they don't trust her. They force all of this labor on her because they moved out of a community and they have to do everything themselves. But also it's just like, I live on the dark fucking farm with no fun to be had. Like, what is their life except for doing manual labor that they suck at? Like, I mean, spending all this time and there's no good byproducts. Like, we can't even eat the fucking corn, you know. I've got to deal with this shitty goat, this Black Phillip that's just a nightmare to deal with, and so on.
But I guess for me, it's like, that's their farm life sucks, but honestly, it sucks everywhere in the world. Like, if they go back to the village, they're still doing the same shit. They just have more of a support system.
I don't know. That sounds like a better life.
I mean, it is a better life, but it still sucks.
None of us want to live that. She
doesn't know that it's just as bad everywhere else. It's not like she's got Instagram and she's doing the whole kind of my life sucks and everybody else's is brilliant kind of doom scrolling before bed every night.
I have to live on this horrible farm while all of my friends are over in Ibiza.
Yes.
Okay, so yes, she does admit, though, that she has strayed. She's not been a very good Christian. And then she takes her baby brother, Samuel. So this is the little baby for a game of peekaboo. And this is staged so simply, but so effectively, because it's not like the first time the baby disappears. It's not, I think, even the third time. I think it's like the fourth time the baby disappears. And it's so shocking because it's so fast. It's so easily done. Like, it's just the edit. The baby's just taken, but I love how fast it feels.
Yeah, well, because it's basically like a shot reverse shot as we're going from her to the baby. And even though this was kind of the scene in all of the marketing for this movie, it's still, I mean, again, like, yeah, as you said, the way that the baby just disappears, it gives this magical sense to the film.
Yeah, there's no kind of movement anywhere else, right? So it's not even like you kind of see some leaves on the trees kind of, you know, brushing as somebody sort of runs into the woods. He's just gone.
Yeah.
And that feels so immediately desolate because it's just like, well, she looks to the woods, but it's too quick.
Yeah.
You know, so where's he gone? And it's played so well. Anya Taylor-Joy, her change in expression from sort of joy and laughter. And actually, it's probably the one time in the film, maybe later when she's playing with Caleb down by the water and they're sort of tickling each other and stuff. But otherwise, this is the one time where she just seems completely relaxed, having a lovely time with her baby brother, playing this silly little game. And she's laughing. And then that last time when she brings her hands away and he's gone, and it stays on her face just for a moment before it goes back, that you see that he's disappeared and his like empty blanket. And there's almost an imperceptible change in her expression, but it is just joy to sheer panic and confusion
and bewilderment.
Just a moment. Bewilderment. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, because it's impossible. But also, I just think of, I was a bit of a troubled teen. I got into a certain amount of trouble and I had to tell my parents things, or other people told my parents things when I was brought home. And it's that moment where you realize, oh, it's not just that I've disappointed them or I've done something that will. It's how do I explain this? Like, how the fuck do you explain that you lost the baby to your parents?
Well, and even saying exactly what just happened, she's going to sound crazy.
Yeah. And I love that we just default say, okay, well, I guess it must have been a wolf. But of course, the movie shows us like this is one of the few times we really break away from any of the members of the family. But we see a hooded figure carrying the crying baby, rushing through the woods. And then we just immediately see a naked crone who I love that this actress's name is Bathsheba Garnett.
Oh my God, yes.
So yeah, she prepares to cut off the baby's penis, and then we just immediately go to the mortar and pestle, and then yeah, we're maybe flying away. This is a little bit obscured, but it's very, oh, she's a witch and she's doing shit. She's rubbing this baby all over her.
I will say I never realized that she was flying up until this viewing that I did this week. But yeah, so basically, Wikipedia tells me this is a flying ointment. Eggers calls it an unguent, unguent.
Unguent.
Thank you. Oh, he says unguent, so go talk to Eggers. But she flies on a stick, not a broomstick, because broomsticks were not commonly associated with witches until the 18th century.
Okay.
And you see that at the end as well when all of the witches around the fire go up in the air. Some of them have just got like what look like branches, just like a bare branch between their legs.
And as to why this scene happens here, we're really throwing out the deep end with this baby getting pulverized. So yes. Eggers says, generally, twists and surprises tend not to work. I also feel like this is such an ancient thing. There's nothing I can do to surprise anyone. In order for the forest to feel dangerous, we needed to know that something was going on. We don't know what a witch means in the early modern period, but this family would. But with this style of film, we were allergic to exposition. I didn't want them to have to explain it, so I wanted to show that right away, this is what a 17th century witch means, and this is what she is capable of.
Also, oh man, not to put anyone on the defense if you are a creative and you're working on screenplays or making movies, but let's adopt allergic to exposition a little bit more readily. You know what? Actually, I'm looking at you, Netflix. I don't need you to say the thing 5 to 10 times because you default assume everyone's on a second screen. Trust your fucking audience.
Yeah, I wish I had optimism about that, but I don't.
Oh no! But you know what? We'll continue to put it out into the ether.
We'll continue. Movies that don't talk down to their viewers.
Sure. Wouldn't that be a marvel? Okay, so a week later, so it's been a week. Baby's gone. We're all trying to cope. We've got the oldest son, Caleb, checking out Thomason's tits because she is sleeping and he's horny because once again, everybody, ain't nobody here but this family.
Again, this is the first time I'd ever noticed this shot in the movie, and I wrote in my notes, I was like, is he checking out his sister? And I almost love that we don't really come back to that.
Oh, we do, though. He does it again down at the river.
Well, yeah, I know.
And then his mum not tells him off for it, tells Thomason off for it.
What a
her
slut.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know what you mean, Trace. It's not as if Thomason ever says, stop looking at my tits, or like, hey, we don't go into an incest place. But to me, it just really reinforces the isolation of, well, like, who else am I supposed to get turned on? Because there's nobody else here.
That's a great question. And actually, another similarity to the Testament of Anne Lee, because the Shakers were completely celibate and didn't have sex, which means, how do you continue that religion?
I mean, you probably get like a day pass to go and...
No, honey, no.
Anyway.
She excommunicates you if you do that.
Jeez.
Anyway.
Okay, so that's our kind of introduction to Caleb, but he ends up waking her up because she's having this nightmare because obviously she feels very, very guilty. Downstairs, we have Mother Catherine, played by Kate Dickie, crying because she is obviously very upset that her baby has been abducted. And then William tells Caleb outside that they're going to stop looking for the baby. So we spent a week, and we have to assume that even if it was taken by wolves, even if it's alive somewhere in the woods, at this point, without nourishment, the baby's dead.
And there's no point in like wasting our resources, our time looking for it when we need to be, making the farm work.
Yeah, even though we get confirmation in this scene that corn is rotted, and there's good luck salvaging this.
Now, do y'all think, nothing they grew was ever going to grow, right? Like, this ground is tainted, or do you think it's a reflection of their poor farming skills?
Yes.
That's a good question. I probably think it's cursed land.
Okay. Which is maybe why it was devoid of previous settlements.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because that's the thing is, like, I mean, because do we know exactly, I guess they don't really say, like, how far away or how long of a drive this is, or ride this is from the village they were in, but it's like, yeah, it would seem like, well, I guess maybe people knew that the Witch of the Woods, like, this is the woods that the witch is in, so that's why there's nothing around here, and yeah, maybe the ground is cursed, but we don't have anyone ever actually vocalize that.
No. And I think at one point when William decides, okay, Caleb has gone missing, the horse is gone, and so on, I think he says that it's almost a day's journey with the horse and 2 without.
Yeah, I think he does say that.
Okay.
So they're very far out there. Okay, so William declares that they're going to have to hunt or they're going to starve in the winter. And even though the kids have been forbidden to go into the woods, that's what we will have to do. So while we do this, William, ever the devout religious person, quizzes Caleb all about his sins. So we really get a perspective into how William approaches things. Basically, you cannot be devoid of sin. It's just a matter of fact, as a human being, we are all sinners.
We are. It's original sin. It's the Adam and Eve concept. But basically, though, all of these kids have been baptized except for the baby, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I believe so, because we would have done it in town.
Yeah. I do like this conversation because Caleb gets into it with William about, like, what does that mean? Like, is my brother in hell right now because you didn't baptize him? Because they gave birth after they left the village.
Yes. Yeah. And William will not offer him any kind of reassurance.
I know, this poor kid. Like, it's actually really heartbreaking, this scene, I think.
Yeah,
because,
it is.
I mean, do we ever find out how old Caleb is? He's got to be about, 12, I guess?
At most, I would say 12, yeah.
Yeah, like 10, 11, 12, somewhere around there.
Yeah, so, he's a little boy. And it's really interesting how he, being the oldest son, even though he is a child, he is automatically the kind of next in line to be, man of the house. It skips Thomason, even though she is quite significantly older than Caleb. And there's the bit right at the beginning of the film when they're first sort of leaving the courthouse or, wherever they're having the kind of town meeting. And she stands there kind of a moment too long. And it's Caleb who sort of hurries her along. So he's already this authority over her because of his maleness, right? So that kind of supersedes his age. And I think what you really see in this moment between him and William in the woods is that he's just a little boy and he's just worried that his baby brother is in hell, and is he going to go to hell?
Yeah,
right.
And he's looking for reassurance from his father, but he's unable to give that. And I think that's really sad.
And I do love that Kate kind of addresses the inheritance line as the film goes on after Caleb dies. And she's like, well, should Jonas just be the man of the house now? Because that would be the case if William dies. And it's like, well, he's like a 5-year-old, so but never mind Thomason. She's not capable because she's a woman.
No, and ironically, Jonas is in league with the devil.
Yes.
So
Yeah. But I love all of this because, again, we're allergic to exposition. So we're saying things without actually coming out and just saying them point blank. But this is all conversations about the patriarchy, right? So we've got William confiding in fucking Caleb, as opposed to his wife, as opposed to his daughter, about selling off this silver cup because,
oh my God, this cup.
We needed to make a fucking move because we're dying out here. But it's not like he's confiding in any of the women. He'll tell the son, who, as you just said, Becky, is a fucking child. So, yes, he orders Caleb not to say anything, and then they try to shoot, I'm going to say, a threatening-looking hare or a rabbit, because every time we get a shot of this, this motherfucker looks so mean, I half expected to become the Monty Python rabbit.
So in his commentary, Eggers brings up the hair and is like, yeah, if you Google witches and hairs, like you'll figure out why I put the hair in here. And I did that, again, cursory Google search. And it just seems to be like, yeah, sometimes witches or the devil can take the form of a hair. But then I was kind of like, yeah, but we have Black Phillip for Satan. Like that's the embodiment of Satan. So do we need the hair here? But it could also be like a
but it is
like a sign
but it is
almost.
the witch. It is the witch.
Yeah, because I think the eyes are the same, are they not?
Oh.
I think so. But later, when the kids have been... So Thomasin and Jonas and Mercy have all been nailed into the barn, like overnight. And they see the hair, and then the next thing is it's the witch in there.
Yeah.
So it's obviously kind of got in as the hair because it's little enough to get through the slats in the wood or whatever.
So she can shapeshift, yeah.
Yeah, she can shapeshift, yeah.
Which...
So all the time the hair is there, and Caleb or anyone is like following the hair into the woods, they're basically following the witch.
Right.
Got it. So it's like the carrot at the end of a stick.
Yeah.
Which, rabbit hair.
There you go. I love how Becky and I both laugh because we got it and then you got it.
Yeah. I love that, explaining your own joke to yourself.
But yeah, I mean, I just think that these images are very striking, but there's nothing scary about a fucking rabbit in the woods. And yet the way that the camera lingers on this, and yes, the fucking score, we're doing so much heavy lifting and you just think, well, I don't like the look of that thing. And then when William tries to shoot it, the gun basically backfires. I could have sworn in my mind that he was partially blind for the rest of the film, but he's not. It just doesn't go well for him.
But do we see the gun go off again in the film? Does it ever go off properly?
No.
So I actually then going back to the ground is cursed thing. If like, yeah, this gun was never going to work the way it was supposed to work.
Yeah.
And you might say that this rabbit, this hair, is the first omen.
Boo.
Oh my God.
I will say too, Eggers says about the dog Fowler. This is his exact quote. Yeah, Fowler's not the right breed of dog, but what can you do?
Which, what? 3 wicks and all other forms of authenticness, but wrong dog. Okay.
What can you do?
What can you do? We only had $3.5 million.
Didn't afford a dog.
Okay, so back at the house, we get more. Well, I guess this would be the second omen trace. So we get a bloody egg, which is just always, it's catnip for horror imagery, right? Like, we go to crack an egg. Oh, fuck. Okay, it's bloody. Nothing good can come of this.
Well, it's like, it's fertilized, isn't it? Because there's like a literal chick in it.
So I guess that's, because so I think this is meant to say that all the eggs they have too are going to turn out
they're
like
fucked.
This. Like nothing they are going to grow or try any kind of animals they're trying to farm. None of it is going to provide sustenance for them, no matter what.
Which lends additional credence to the idea that, all of this ground is spoiled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So this is where we really start to zero in on the twins, Jonas and Mercy, who are played by Lucas Dawson and Ellie Granger. Fantastic. No notes. I hated them so much every time they were on screen. I was like, yeah, these are devil children. 100%.
But I think the scariest thing though is that they're aware of what they're doing, but I don't think they're aware of like the magnitude of what they're doing.
Yeah, the ramifications. To them, this is a game, right? Because they're also fucking bored. They have no one else to play with, so they're just getting into trouble. Like the moment where Caleb is dying and they are pretending to die along with him because they think it's fun, and you're just like, no, you kids just killed your brother. They don't get it.
Yeah, but Black Phillip saith that they can do what they like.
Sure. Well, and that's what they're doing right now. So they're chasing Black Phillip around. Shall we just do the anecdote? I feel like that's the other famous thing everybody knows about this movie. Yes, Black Phillip was a nightmare to work with.
Oh, yeah.
But this goat is not supposed to be out of its pen, and it doesn't really matter what anybody says. So we very quickly understand that these two children are particularly unruly. They're very difficult to control.
But again, it's Thomasin who's like getting in trouble for it.
Yes,
which I find so frustrating.
She's meant to be their caretaker, and I'm like, bitch, I know that Catherine is like grieving the loss of her dead baby, but like, come on, lady, you got to watch these kids.
Well,
yeah,
I mean, that's why you have an older daughter. What else is she good for?
Well, I guess, I mean, and not to like lay blame on Catherine, even though Catherine's kind of reprehensible, but like, what does Catherine do to fill her day?
That's what I was wondering, because we see Thomasin doing any number of chores, right? We'll see her carrying buckets of water. We'll see her baling hay. We'll see her putting the sheep down for the night. And I just kept thinking, what the fuck else is everyone doing around this godforsaken farm? Like, maybe it's not the cursed earth. Maybe it's that nobody's pulling their weight except for this one teenage girl.
I mean, William's doing stuff. Caleb assists William, but yeah, like...
No, William is just cutting log after log like he's been infected by amityville.
Hey, you know what? His priority is keeping the family warm.
My God, when he gets knocked into that pile of wood at the end, when he gets killed, I was like, there is so much wood. Like, I get it. We're coming up on winter, but were you doing anything else?
But I think that's the answer to your question. He wasn't, because, yeah, we were preparing for winter. We had to have a wall-size thing of logs that just, you know, kicking him when he's down after Black Phillip gores him.
I love it. It's so satisfying. But yes, okay, so Catherine is very mad because they left without telling her where they were going, and she insinuates that she was left there all alone, despite the fact that Thomasin is there with the twins.
So harsh.
But this is also when William and Caleb both lie. So we definitely didn't go into the woods. We went down to the valley. We were looking for apples. We thought we saw some, but we were actually mistaken. And I do love that this almost pays off. It's almost like the witch had her ear pressed up to the wall, like, oh, apple, yeah, good call. When I kill your kid, I'm gonna stuff one in his fucking mouth.
I love that.
So William chopping wood in the bed sheet, great visual. And we see Thomasin scrubbing his clothes as, once again, Caleb stares at her tits. See what's that to do. So this is the other moment that you mentioned, Becky, where it seems like we can just let our troubles go. We can be children. We can wrestle and tickle down by the water. Everything's great. And then this is when the fucking twin shows back up. So Mercy is play acting as the witch, saying things like, "Mother hates you" to Thomasin. Mean.
Yeah, she's really egging her on to the point where, like, whenever Thomasin finally snaps, and again, it's like a gentle snap. She doesn't just lose it, but like she's, you know, teasing Mercy and being like, yeah, I am the witch of the wood. I dance naked with the devil. And he demanded an unbaptized babe, so I gave him Samuel. Maybe she should have said that. Because that's
maybe a step too far.
Yeah.
Dark humor.
You know what? I'm grieving as well. I also lost my baby brother, but
she does say, like, perchance I'll boil and bake thee for our lack of food, which I was like, yes, do that.
Yeah, eat her.
Yeah,
Shut her up. I'm sorry, but the words clickety-clackety.
Ooh, boy.
I didn't know that those were terrifying words, but they are. They are when they come out of the mouth of that terrifying little brat.
Clickety-clackety.
Clickety-clackety. Clickety-clackety.
I do love, though, that we basically get Thomasin saying, yes, I'm a witch. You know, the equivalent of I am she. And then just a couple of years later, we will end the Suspiria remake with Dakota Johnson declaring I am she. Like, again, the good for her, praxis.
Yeah.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah. Oh God. This actually, yeah, really good double feature. You watch this, and then you watch Suspiria for the evolution of witches in cinema.
There we go. Yeah, and if you want to throw in more scary contemporary witches, albeit in a fairy tale element, you could do Oz Perkins's Gretel and Hansel.
Ooh, you know what else? The Wretched.
Oh God, I love The Wretched. Becky, have you seen The Wretched?
I don't think I've seen
it. It was a smaller
yeah.
film from like circa 2020. It might be a Shudder film, or either way, really good witch movie. Really
yes,
good witch
and
movie.
mean witch movie.
Oh, love it.
And we're getting a sequel, apparently.
We are indeed. I always try to claim it as Canadian, and then people remind me, they're like, no. Okay, so yes, Thomasin does this whole spiel where she is the witch and she scares the kid. She throttles Mercy, and it's very satisfying. But this is obviously going to come back and bite her in the ass. So we move on to an extremely meager dinner. This is one piece of bread being shared amongst the entire family.
Yeah.
And Catherine has noticed that her silver cup has gone missing, and she just immediately blames Thomason. Doesn't understand how things go amiss on the farm.
Okay.
It's not natural.
But she like really twists the knife here because she passive aggressively says, "Oh, my silver cup is gone. Did the wolf vanish that too?"
Oh my God. And like the emphasis on wolf as well is like, ouch.
Yeah, nobody believes it. Well, like, so what does she think happened? That Thomason just somehow lost the baby then? Thomason killed the baby?
Just like drop kicked it into the trees.
She punted it.
Those two trees look like a field post. Maybe I can just kick the baby right in between.
It just flew off into the sky, into the space.
Oh my God. Baby witches. Yes, okay. So in order to shut her up, William says, you know what? Let's reconnect with our religion. How about we all fast the next day? It's definitely not because we have no food.
No, definitely not. He's owning it. He's owning starvation.
I mean, he does say it's for their sins, but he's very much lying about that. I mean, it's little column A, little column B.
Yeah. Both can be true. We're so fucked, but yes. Okay, so Thomason is sent out to check on the sheep, put them to bed because that has not been done. This is when she sees the hair. And then we go back inside and William is encouraging Catherine to try to stop focusing on the baby. You know, hey, I know you're real sad, but it's been 6 days. It's time to move on.
Oh, no. He pulls a Nicole Kidman from The Killing of a Sacred Deer, you know, where she's like, well, you know, we can always have more children. Let's just kill one of our own. He says to Catherine, well, God's never taken any of our children before, so we should be thankful that it's only this is the first time, and hopefully only time it's happened. Like, that's his words of encouragement to Catherine.
Yeah, I think he says at one point, we have been grateful of God's love. Like, you know, we haven't lost any other kids. Shouldn't we be so happy with that? And she's like, I guess.
I mean, I guess what they are pointing out, or what he is pointing out, is like, I would imagine the infant mortality rate in these days wasn't great.
Right. Yeah.
So, you know, they've managed to get they've got like 4, and Samuel was the 5th. Mm-hmm. So it's like, look, we made it through 4.
We've actually defied the odds so far.
We've actually defied the odds. And it took us till baby number 5 till either wolves or a witch took it. You know.
And that's the thing, you know. So then Catherine like just segues the conversation into, well, you know, Thomason's got her period, basically. Like she's begat the signs of her womanhood. And it seems like because of that, it's almost like Catherine disowns Thomason. Like, oh, she's not my child anymore. So really, in her mind, it's like, oh, no. We've already lost Thomason. So this baby is really the second thing that we've lost. And it's worse because I care more about this baby than I do my eldest daughter, which is really fucked up.
I don't think it's so much disown as saying, you know, we're barely making ends meet. And if that girl is now an adult, she's a woman, she should be sent away because she's of an age where we don't need to look after her anymore. We don't have the food to feed another mouth. But I take what you mean. It's basically like, well, she's not a kid. We don't have to look after her anymore. And I'm still real sad about the baby.
Yeah.
Do you think there's anything there about the fact that Samuel is a boy and Thomason's a girl?
Well, I think it's partly, but I mean, because it literally, because we'll see that the kids are all listening in on this, which, oops, like maybe, like, you know.
Boy.
Like, yeah.
I mean, you have no
the
doors.
Aren't super thick,
she yells, like, are y'all awake? And it's like, bitch, if they're listening to you, they're not going to say, yep, we are.
Yeah, just listening to how you want to sell me into indentured servitude and we're all going to starve. And, you know, our baby brother was in hell because he didn't get baptized. Sure, Mom.
And that's the thing. Like, Catherine yells at William, our son is in hell. So that seems to be the big sticking point. So she's resents William from taking them away from the plantation, even though she seemed really gung-ho about it when they first got there. But because of that, Samuel wasn't able to be baptized. So she's blaming William for that, essentially, and then blaming Thomason for having it get lost.
Question for you two. Do you think that Kate is as religious as William, or is she as religious but in a slightly different way?
Yeah, I do. I think she's pretty full on religious.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The reason I ask is just because there are times where it feels like, you know, she thinks that God has abandoned them or cursed them, but also I could never get a sense of whether she agreed with William about, like, he's the one who gets them kicked out of the city. And I wasn't sure if she felt as strongly maybe just in his convictions to separate, that was the big sticking point.
Yeah, I think they're equally religious, but as to what their specific beliefs are, well, we know what Williams are, obviously, the separatist movement. But yeah, you're right. We don't get a clue as to what, because even when they really fight later, she doesn't even bring it up as like a, you know,
she doesn't throw it at him.
I believed in the English church, like we just had to purify it or whatever. We don't get that. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So needless to say, as you mentioned, Trace, the kids have been listening in on this. So Caleb thinks, well, okay, if we're really worried about starving, let's try to do something that will address the one problem that we can actually fix. So he's going to take the horse out and check the traps in the woods that he and William set up. But of course, Thomasin hears him sneaking out. She doesn't want him to go alone, so she blackmails him emotionally, softly, into letting her accompany him. So we take a trip into the woods, and we do have Fowler with us as well. I like this moment. Like, the relationship between Caleb and Thomasin is kind of lovely when he's not looking at her tits. But the scene where she's reminding him about what he's forgotten about their house in England and, you know, these fond memories, and you just truly get this sense of, oh yeah, before we came to the States, things were actually okay. Like, we had a window and it was great. You just think these are such low standards, but God bless.
She says something about the glass being like pretty, doesn't she? She's like, oh, you know, it was so pretty. And it's like, oh God,
yeah,
these
like,
poor kids.
See, this is the level of comfort that we are now missing in our shitty little shack by the woods.
A little fucking hovel with, you know, holes for windows.
Okay, so we're into the woods, which is where the parents told us never to go, and there's a reason for that, because this hare shows up. Fowler the dog gives chase. We startle the horse. Thomasin and Caleb get separated, and Thomasin eats shit. So she's knocked out for the count.
Man, they didn't do any kind of markings to be like, okay, this is how we find our way back home, which seems like, I mean, the first thing you should be doing. Honestly, something William should have done the first time he went out into the woods.
But I think he was so afraid that his wife was going to find out, because it seems to me like they had an implicit agreement, and he was like, well, I'm just not going to tell her what she doesn't need to know, but we got to do what we got to do or else we're going to starve. But as a result, it's like, well, nobody knows their way around the woods, and Caleb thinks he knows the way. I don't know, like maybe they would have gotten there and it would have been fine, but all this to say, instead what Caleb discovers is, oh, I'm lost. Oh, wait, yes, everyone, the dog does die, and it looks pretty horrible.
Yeah, and this was the real dog that they just put some guts on, by the way, so like it's just kind of like panting, breathing there. Also, I'm sorry, going back to this whole like the ground is cursed, I think it is right, because I think there's magic on this land to ensure that anyone who settles there has to go into the woods to look for sustenance.
Right.
And then they'll get lost and they'll find their way to the witch's hovel.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, which is exactly what happens to Caleb. So he ends up, you know, making his way through, and then he finds this cutie little cottage. I would love to live there. It kind of looks great.
For this time period, yeah.
For this time period, yeah. But he meets a busty young witch who is now played by Sarah Stevens. She's got this bright red cloak. It is so fairy tale. Like, it's also Little Red Riding Hood, right? You know, he's going right into the quote-unquote wolf's lair. And we get the female chorus on the soundtrack as she leans in to kiss him. I think that this is just the right amount of menace. Like, we know, bad fucking news, he's in trance. We know that he's staring at her tits because he's been doing it to his sister. And then we see the gnarled hand as she cups the back of his head.
It's a well-crafted jump scare.
Yes.
Yes.
It's good.
And it's not even like the score doesn't like cue you to a jump scare. And
Nope.
I love that we just smash cut to black as soon as it comes up.
Yeah.
Oh, it's horrible. And the way she kisses him as well, because he's so very still.
Mm-hmm.
And again, as we've already discussed with him, like, he's so tiny, like he's a little boy. And so obviously there is this like real discomfort in the age gap and the kind of sexual maturity of these two people. Plus we know she's a witch, you know, bad news.
That last one's just an add-on.
I don't know, man. She might not. Maybe this is all in his head. Maybe it's not real. Maybe she's not real. Maybe there's no. Again, this is what I was thinking the first time I saw this movie 10 years ago.
Oh my God.
But
what's the metaphor here?
She kisses him like so kind of tenderly but passionately.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, this is giving me the ick. And then that hand comes in out of nowhere and then it smashes to black. Like that is
it's really
well
really
done.
good. Yeah,
It's so good.
And this is the halfway point of the film in the runtime.
Okay, so we've still got a long way to go with all of this terrible misfortune.
Well, it keeps escalating.
Before we move in, I think my absolute number one favourite part of this film is when they have to tie the twins up.
Yes.
Like to the fence.
Like
so
animals.
They've got them with like little like ropes round their waists.
It's like the parent leashes of today.
Yes.
It's like they've got them on harnesses and they've just lashed them to the fences because the parents have got to go and find their other two kids who are now missing in the woods.
Yeah.
And obviously you can't leave these feral little fuckers like just running around the place. But because they are so manic, they're just like running to and forth, with these ropes around their waist. It is the most hilarious image. I think it's so funny. I love it so much.
Yeah. I also love that, these two are apparently mature enough to call the devil, but they can't figure out how to untie the rope around their waist.
Well, because they don't have to do anything. All they have to do is sit there and Black Phillip will walk up to them and talk to them and they're good to go.
That is true. Yes. I mean, it's probably not that they summoned Black Phillip so much as, okay, these two are the way into the family.
There's no way to see because, I know that there's cages of animals on the wagon when they're first going out there at the very, 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 very beginning. But I don't know if Black Phillip is in that wagon. Is that something they got when they got there? Like, we never see the meeting of Black Phillip. Or maybe, or is it something that they already had? I don't think it's likely they already had Black Phillip when they went out there.
Interesting. It never occurred to me to look to see if he's, loaded into the back of the truck when they leave the city. Okay, so yes, the parents are frantic, the children are missing, we tie up these two fucking brats, and then we say, okay, let's go try to find them. The problem is, of course, they have no horse, so this is when William finally comes clean and says, okay, I definitely sold the silver cup. I definitely took Caleb into the woods looking for food. And this is where the relationship between Catherine and William will start to crack. So she calls him a liar. She warns him that he's damning them to death. And then he ends up slapping her to shut her up. Great marriage. It's called counseling, kids. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's see what Puritan counseling looked like in the 1630s.
Yeah. Has thy touched thy wife in a godly fashion.
But you would think, though, that this would at least, position Catherine more to be empathetic towards Thomasin. And we get, the briefest moments of that at some point,
yes,
when she's holding the kids later. But it never really comes back.
Yeah. Yeah. It's rough.
Well, because that's the idea, essentially, because Catherine's been blaming Thomasin for all of these things that William has done. And so it's not even that William has lied to Catherine. It's that he has let Catherine blame Thomasin, his daughter, for all of this.
Which I'm so satisfied when she calls him out on that.
Yes!
Well.
It's so good. Yeah. So Thomasin finds her way back out of the woods. Basically, she was knocked unconscious for most of this time, and then she hears her father calling, so she uses his voice to make her way out of the woods, and her parents are obviously frantic. William's trying to decide whether or not he's going to go back to town to see if we can figure things out. So Thomasin offers that she will go out into the rain and she will take care of the sheep because her mother is still irate. I think this is the tender moment, right, where Catherine kind of cups her face, and it seems like Catherine has maybe learned, oh, wow, okay, when I thought that Thomasin was gone and then she comes back, I realize how important she is or how much I love her and so on. You think, great. Maybe something's going to change. Then Thomasin goes out into the night in the rain, and this is when we find Caleb. He's naked. He's kind of out of it. So shit. We do a little bit of bleeding. So Catherine cuts his head to try to, get some of the shit out. You just think, oh my God, right. Medicine in the 1600s.
Well, because also if you were using a specific herb or something, some people would view that as witchcraft.
Right, this is exactly what I think when I see this moment, is that, them bleeding him. That just feels witchy to me. And it's all so kind of muddy, isn't it, about where your beliefs, which side of, this...
It depends on what the male doctors told you was actually useful.
Yeah.
And if they didn't say it was useful, it was witchcraft.
It's like, leeches, fine. Baby pate, no.
Yeah.
Right. Where's the line, kids? Come on.
Well, who really needs to fly without the use of an airplane in the 1630s?
I do love this, though, as a bit of a through line. Like, we can see the evolution of this to Eggers' preoccupation with how women specifically were treated by the medical community in Nosferatu.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we do a little bit of bleeding. She's praying. William's out there chopping more wood because this is all he's good for. And the next day, this is when Mercy communes with Black Phillip about her wicked sister. And, I mean, she's sort of having a joke, but also we will later learn not.
Well, because she says that Black Phillip told them that Thomason put the devil in Caleb. Now,
right.
Whether that's Mercy lying about what Black Phillip said, whether that's Black Phillip actually telling Mercy that and lying,
yeah,
that's
trying to
true.
Plant some seeds and turn the kids against each other and so on.
Which is working, clearly.
100%, yeah. And then this is where we get our next incident involving an animal that is just proof that we need to get the fuck out of here. So we've got Flora the sheep. Instead of, giving us some milk, we get blood into the bucket.
Blech.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good.
Another
not
great
good.
visual.
You don't want that on your Weetabix.
Okay, so William and Kate, as they're taking care of Caleb, they're having another conversation about what to do. So he decides he's going to try to find some things to trade. We're going to go for medicine in town. And she's like, I would rather us go home. Like, I really regret the decision that we made. And he's like, don't worry, this will feel like home again soon. And she says, no, England.
So actually, Joe, this conversation, this kind of brief monologue that Kate has answers your question. So I do love that she says, I never meant to be a shrew to you, William. Like, she knows how awful she's being. But she says, my heart is turned to stone. And then she talks about a time when she was younger, when she felt God's love. I knew like this is my belief system. But ever since Samuel disappeared, her faith has disappeared, which I find deeply interesting. That someone who is this pious, and again, I'm not trying to downplay the loss of a child, especially a baby. It's obviously a really big fucking thing. But I guess I just think that given how these people are so devout in their religion and their faith, that this would make her like her lifetime of faith just wipe away.
But maybe that's why she's finding it so difficult and unsettling to find herself like thinking that, because she might have thought that nothing would ever shake her faith, and then what has shaken her faith is her baby being taken, and she's like, oh shit, well now not only have I lost my youngest child, but also I'm now doubting this belief system, which has basically been my sure footing throughout everything else.
Oh, I really like that. And I don't even think that that's a generous reading. I think that that's actually a very fair reading, because I was going to ask, do we think that accusations leveled against the film as being sort of anti-religion are accurate or apt? And I like what you said, Becky, because I think that's probably more accurate. It's not that, the minute that these religious people have some kind of issue, their faith just goes out the window. It's that they didn't ever think that anything could shake their faith. And then they're discovering real life can be so cruel that sometimes it's just really hard to still believe in God.
And she compares herself to Job's wife. And if you aren't familiar with the figure of Job, like, this is a man who was suddenly beset basically with horrendous disasters that take away everything he holds dear, be it, again, like no food, no water, sores in the body, whatever. This was all shown to be a test of his faith by God. And his wife was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, stop this, like, get away. So her saying I'm like Job's wife is actually a bad thing, because that means that she is not supporting what could be, in their eyes, a test by God of their faith.
Right, yeah. And I do love that William won't even engage with her, which is not surprising, because we saw that he wasn't willing to reassure Caleb when he asked if Samuel was burning in hell. So he doesn't try to help his wife through this crisis of faith. He just kind of says, I'm going to go in the morning. I'll talk to you later.
Go chop some wood.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Default response, chop some wood. So we see Mercy sing-songing about Black Phillip as we're peeling off any little bits of corn that we can. And this child is just such a fucking nuisance. Everybody tells this girl to shut the fuck up for a hot second, and she just keeps singing new songs about Black Phillip. This is when Caleb starts to wake up, but he is writhing. He's, speaking in kind of desperate prayers, but also they have to force his mouth open with a bit of a knife or like the blunt end of a fork or something. And he spits out the apple, which is obviously what's causing part of his impairment. And I mean, we know he's going to die, right? Like for a moment, it seems maybe he'll get better, but we know he's going to die, right?
It's like, back in like soap operas when somebody had been in a coma for like 3 episodes and then they're like, their loved one is by their side and they go, oh my God, they're awake, nurse. And then they wake up for like 2 seconds and then it's like, beep. Yeah. It's like that. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. And I mean, he's going off because I didn't get everything he said, but he says like, get the broad axe and narrow axe and cut off her head. She's upon me. She kneels. My bowels, my stomach. She pinches. Sin, sin, sin.
Yeah, and of course he's talking about the witch, but because Mercy and Jonas are such little fucking pricks, they make it sound like he is directly talking about Thomasin, and then when we try to pray for him, they say, oh, we can't remember because Thomasin has cursed us, and then they start writhing on the ground like she's afflicting them because they are such little shits.
The prayer thing, that was one of the like tests, I think, to try and identify witches that you would, if you are still able to say the Lord's Prayer, then it's like, I don't know, evidence that you're not a witch.
But she can't, but she conveniently is unable to remember it, which...
Yeah, well, this is the thing. So it's like, again... all of this focus and accusation going on Thomasin, but if they're being rational about it and they're watching what is happening in front of their eyes, Thomasin is able to say the prayer, whereas it is the twins who are unable to say it and they say, oh, I can't remember it.
Yeah.
And then they, like you said earlier, like they sort of either they're like playing the, sort of like very inappropriately, sort of along with Caleb and him dying, either that or like they are kind of being put into this fit and this trance.
Yeah, just from hearing it.
They're like struggling against trying to say the Lord's Prayer, but they can't literally because they are... bewitched by
well, and I apologize. I said Thomas and conveniently forgot. I did mean Mercy and Jonas, but yeah, because as soon as the others, the parents and Thomasin start saying like the Lord's Prayer, they're just convulsing. Like they can't stand listening to it.
Exactly.
I love that you two read this as, oh, they're responding to the Lord's Prayer, and I'm like, no, these are just two kids who suck.
Little shit.
I mean, and again, I think you could watch it that way, but it's that going back to what Edgar said, where it's like you have to understand that people believed all of this stuff that nowadays we're like, oh, well, that's absolute hodgepodge and nonsense. But like, this is what they thought, so that's what's in this movie.
Yeah. So obviously someone who does believe all of this is Catherine, because she casts Thomasin out after Mercy and Jonas have this kind of reaction. I mean, it just truly feels like such awful timing for Caleb to have basically woken up, done all of this, and then die as Mercy and Jonas are pinning, pointing the finger at Thomasin. So Catherine just goes, get the fuck out. You're responsible.
Okay, another lens to watch this movie through is a grooming lens. So what if all of this is Satan intentionally trying to isolate Thomasin to groom her to join his coven of witches? So really, in a way, like Black Phillip Satan is puppeteering all of this. He intentionally got Caleb to wake up at this point in time because he knew it would be the worst for Thomasin in this point.
Yeah. I've definitely seen that reading before, is that this is actually the long game to get Thomasin isolated so that she's in a position where she will accept his offer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she is clearly the coolest of all of them. So.
Well,
I mean, the hair alone, when you see her covered in blood, you think, yeah, girl, got it. Okay, so yes, Catherine has yelled at Thomasin. She's cast her out. There's this other moment where you think, okay, William's going to comfort her. We're going to have this touching father-daughter moment. And initially it seems that way, except, oh no, this is just a pretense to ask, oh, are you communing with the devil? Because I guess I have my questions now. And this is the moment where Thomasin will just go off on him because it's like, You're asking me this now? Fuck you.
I've got this. You and Mother plan to rid the farm of me. I heard you speak of it. You took at Mother's cup and let her rail at me. You confessed not until it was too late. You are a hypocrite. You took Caleb to the wood and let me take the blame of that too. You let Mother be as thy master. That's probably the biggest dig. You cannot bring the crops to yield. You cannot hunt. So she is just like emasculating him.
Failure.
I love it. She's like, your hair looks bad. Your breath smells.
Sure, you look like Jesus when you're chopping wood at just the bed sheet, but apart from that, the library is open and the glasses are on.
And she even rightfully says, excuse me, your twins have been talking to the goat Black Phillip, and we know from scripture the adversary, Satan, comes in the shape of a he-goat.
Yeah, the problem is that I think for William, this is actually just more confusing because what happens when somebody gets accused, they point the finger at their accuser and he just doesn't really know what to make of it. So he just lumps all of these kids together. And as you mentioned earlier, Becky, he locks them in the barn, just nails them in. You know what? When you got a problem with your children, parents, have you considered nailing them into a small enclosed space with animals?
And you know that the movie's kind of barreling towards its climax because you have William being like, all right, tomorrow morning I'm going to head to the plantation. And you're like, oh, you're not going to make that trip.
Nobody's leaving the dark farm, Becky. Sorry.
It's also really scary when she's like, it's not safe, not with them.
Yes.
And she's talking about like these two little, like, I mean, what are they, like 3? Like these little 3-year-olds. And I love how genuinely terrified she is of being basically nailed into a barn with these little like devil spawn.
Yeah. I mean, truthfully, she's in the worst predicament in this night.
Yeah, big time.
And I will say this is where the darkness to me is the exact right amount of inky, because there's moments where I think we're deliberately not meant to be able to see exactly what's going on. So, Becky, you mentioned that there's this moment with the hair that then will turn into this crone, and we hear before we see that Flora is actually being eaten by this hag. But I love how it's so difficult to make out exactly what's happening, because I think it really raises the stakes for Thomas in being in there and saying, I'm not safe with these two little shits.
Well, and there's something because when we see like the backside of the crone, you know, before she turns around and like takes Mercy and Jonas, which I love that we don't really know what, I mean, we know they die, but like we don't know what happens to Mercy and Jonas, but like there's something about the physicality of the witch as she's crouched over the sheep or the goat or whatever, and she's like, it's almost like she's sawing at something, like she's shaking her body, and like the Foley work of the sound of whatever she's doing to this animal.
I wondered if she was, because you know when she turns around she's got like blood all around her mouth.
Yeah.
I wondered if she was like drinking from the like goat's like teat,
possibly.
Because obviously like earlier we've seen the blood's coming out.
That's a good catch. I mean, one of the other things, again, allergic to exposition, I love that we don't really know how the witch's power works, or yes, even what happens to Mercy and Jonas. It's, you know enough to know that nothing good is coming out of this, or even the fact that we saw the crone when she was old, and then we see this younger woman. I guess, maybe I'm misreading this. I default assumed that the crone got younger because of the baby pate.
No.
But I guess there's many witches in these woods, as we'll learn at the end.
Okay, so I was going to say that the baby pates were flying.
Yes.
And when Caleb comes to the cottage, she's doing like a glamour or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she makes herself appear to him as this beautiful woman.
Because that's how you attract a small boy, is through the power of seduction.
Exactly. We already know that he's been looking at his sister's tits. So obviously, if she gets her big witchy tits out, then he's going to be attracted. And then that's why when the hand comes in, it's actually a crone hand, because she doesn't actually look like
okay. That. Also, I need a trauma film called Big Witchy Tits.
Big Witchy Tits!
Okay, so yes, we spend a long dark night with the twins, with the animals, in anticipation of the scene with the crone. But meanwhile, the parents are having their own share of fun. So we've got William literally just chopping more and more fucking wood in the dark. But this is where he makes his confession about being proud. And inside, Well, let's talk about Catherine, shall we?
Oh, boy. So... Joe, do you remember when we covered Popcorn a few weeks ago and I said, yeah, there's something about like when a villainous character is like whispering off screen that and I said the same thing about Clue whenever Yvette dies. This scene does the same fucking thing with this Caleb devil child whispering sweet nothings to his grieving mother.
Yeah, so she comes down in the middle of the night and she sees that Caleb is now alive again and he has Samuel in his arms. And yes, Caleb is saying sweet nothings to his mother. Mother, I missed you so. But I had a different read of this. This reminded me of the little boy at the window in Salem's Lot.
Ooh, good.
That's still scary.
It's still super fucking scary because we know that both of these children are dead. So it's like, wait, what is like how and why is Catherine seeing this? Is it just that she's so grief stricken? Because I did jump over the part where she literally is on top of Caleb's body in the grave.
Okay, but wait, I'm sorry. One really great detail about the scene where Ghost Caleb comes back to her that I did not catch. I only caught it because Eggers points it out in the commentary. The silver cup is on the nightstand next to her bed.
No, really?
Yes.
Wait, so did William give the cup to the devil? Or is this just what Catherine wants to see?
The thing that I noticed in this watch that I've never noticed before is one of the things he whispers is, I have bought a book for you, Mother. Will you look at it with me?
Yes.
Is this the book of the devil that we're trying to get people to sign?
So I think it's the devil. You know how later when the devil appears to Thomasin and he's like a kind of dashing, handsome guy with like spurs on his boots. Mm-hmm. Like, what's the thing that Catherine wants to see the most? What's the thing that she is most likely
temptation
to react to? It's getting her children back. And what do you do with your children? You read books with them, right? So the fact that Caleb is saying to her, like, I've bought a book, will you look at it with me? I think he's going to like open the book and then he's going to get her to sign it because he wants her to come over and be a witch.
So that's really the thing. Then it's not, we're going by this. It's not just Thomas. He's just trying to get every single woman in this house because he's already got Mercy.
Right.
Although we don't know if Mercy signed a book though. That's...
Yeah, we never get confirmation of that.
Well, maybe the witch kills her before he's got the chance to get her to sign it.
I was actually going to ask this too about Mercy and Jonas because we know why she kills the baby. It needs to be an unbaptized baby. Like that's how she gets the flying power. But Mercy and Jonas have been baptized. So is it just killing them because that's what witches do? We just kill people? Or is there a use for them outside of using them to corrupt the family? I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh my God, maybe she's got them in like jars back at back at the cottage.
I don't know.
I mean, what would the Sanderson sisters do?
Honestly, thought about Hocus Pocus a lot while watching this movie. I will say, Eggers says too, the funny thing, so we know his least favorite shot in the movie. His favorite shot in the movie is the shot of William and Catherine standing over Caleb's grave as you get this shot of the house with the chimney smoke coming out of the chimney. He says that's his favorite shot in the movie. I don't know why. I don't know why that's better than the other one that he hates so much. That's just the skyline, but, to be in his head.
Director's preference, I guess. Needless to say, Catherine's vision is, of course, all fantasy. And when we get the reveal, do you two remember how you reacted the first time? Because I was not expecting it to be a crow pecking at her breast.
Ooh. I think it was one of those moments where I was horrified, but then I laughed. Not because I thought it was funny, but I was just kind of like in shock at what I was seeing.
Yeah.
Like it's audacious.
Yeah.
There's almost something that like tips over into camp. It's
a little bit. Yeah.
It's so ridiculous, but genuinely terrifying and like agonizing to watch. Like it looks
painful,
really painful.
And this is the glamour at work again, albeit the devil's glamour, because she thinks that she's holding her baby Samuel.
She thinks she's breastfeeding Samuel.
Oh, it's so dark.
Ugh.
Okay, so basically we have dealt with most of the members of the family. This is kind of cross-cut between what's going on with Thomasin and the crone and Flora and everything. So William finds Thomasin in the morning. It's a mess, right? Like the animals have been killed. They're bloody bodies have been strewn about. Someone has removed all the boards.
Mercy and Jonas are just not there.
Yeah, the twins are missing. We should note that Thomasin does have bloodied hands. So, whether you want to attribute the dead animals to her or obviously from William's point of view, it's, okay, she's probably killed the twins. I love that we don't even have him trying to confront her or getting a fight or anything. Black Phillip is just there, and we gut William not once, but twice, send him falling into this stack of fucking wood, and goodbye, William.
I do love that Black Phillip, I wrote in my notes, does a little victory leap at this after he gores William.
What fun we're having. Yay!
He's like, yeah, nailed it.
Truly, yeah.
This is another jump scare, though. This gets me every time.
He comes out of nowhere.
Like you say, he is just suddenly there.
Yeah.
Well, and it's like, it's so violent.
And I don't think we cut to do a wider shot of Black Phillip goring him. We stay on William the whole time. So we're kind of like, wait, what just happened? And then we realize.
Yeah. Okay, so William is dead. Thomasin goes to check on his body, but this is when Catherine comes out. Obviously, it's not looking good for Thomasin. This is when Catherine goes on her rant about how she's a slut. She smacks her around. She starts to strangle her. So Thomasin acts, quote unquote, in self-defense. We stab Mom once and then she keeps strangling her. So obviously Thomasin has to kill her.
I like, because she sort of reaches down, doesn't she? Which Thomasin's on her back on the ground.
Yeah.
Her mum's on top of her. She's like strangling her. And you get that classic thing where Thomasin's kind of groping about for anything she can get her hands on.
Yeah.
And there's a knife and she picks up the knife. Like, that knife was definitely put there by the devil.
Right.
Like, I feel like Black Phillip kind of had that in his mouth.
Let me just inch it a little bit closer so it's within arm's reach.
I was going to say, you just see Black Phillip with the knife in his mouth just walk up and just drop it next to her hand.
It's like, I'm just going to leave this here. If you want to do anything with it, that's your choice. But
I would have loved, I mean, not in this movie, obviously, but just love to have seen, like, the moments before William wakes up to discover what's happened in the barn, to just see Black Phillip, like, setting the scene.
Staging everything. All right, I need to move this corpse over a little bit more, just for maximum impact. Yeah,
so.
Looks great. Look at this chaos. Beautiful. Okay, so Mom and Dad are dead. Thomasin is sobbing because she's now covered in blood. She has killed her mother. So she goes inside. She takes off the bloody dress and she just passes out on the table. And then we resume things in the dark, in the night, as Thomasin calls out to Black Phillip. So yes, she has been isolated, pushed to the brink that she will now summon him. And I love the way that we shoot this. Sure, we will see what this man looks like, but it's fleeting. But for the most part, it's just Anya Taylor-Joy letting her react to this dulcet, mellifluous. God damn it. You know what? I can write it out. No. Mellifluous. Nope. I will just not say that.
mellifluous.
Thank you. Mellifluous. Nope. Still can't say it. Anyway.
I don't know what that means.
It's like a sultry, kind of beautiful sounding voice.
Oh my God. That perfectly describes this voice.
Yeah. So the voice is contributed by Wahab Chari. And honestly, if this person wanted to read me the phone book with this voice, like, I know we're promising butter and we're promising getting to see the world and everything, but like, this voice alone is enough to seduce me to the fucking dark side.
Yeah, I love the way this is shot. Like, we're holding on Anya Taylor-Joy's face, and I love, because there's a moment where she's demanding, she's begging for Black Phillip to come and speak to her like he did to Jonas and Mercy. She almost gives up, turns around, and mid-turn we get the first "What dost thou want?" And I remember being in the theater and being like, well, girl, he's not going to talk to you. Like, this has all been like fake because none of this is real.
Oh my God, I love that you thought this was fake. That is so wild.
I really did. I'm telling you, I really did. And so then we get the devil speaks to her. And I mean, it's not even a scare, but I just remember like getting like chills where I was like, oh God.
Goosebumps, hair raised on all arms. Yes. Yeah, it's so good. So yeah, he makes her this offer. What he wants her to do is remove her shift and sign the book. And she says, I basically don't know how to write. And he says, I'll guide your hand.
And she's like, done.
Done.
There's this incredible moment when, because at first I think you do see him as Black Phillip behind her,
Yes.
I think.
Yep.
And then
It's like a shadowy shape of a man.
it's shadow. But the best thing about it, this is the bit, and this is the thing that I only noticed this time, is a hoof comes in to view, and then the next step is like a spurred boot.
Oh.
So it's either he's got like one of each,
Mm-hmm.
very devilly, or he like transforms kind of
Right.
like mid-step. Oh,
Yeah.
mwah, mwah, the
Yeah.
detail.
And that we don't get like a full, like clear view of what he looks like in whatever form it is. I love that. I love that it's left to our imagination, minus the movement we can see behind Thomasin.
I just don't think it could be satisfying in any other
No.
form. Like, unless you're going to cast an actor and really, like, if you're going to put Vincent Price in this movie as a devil or something, maybe. But I think given the way that this film has been shot and styled, you know, the low level lighting to keep things slightly obscured in the dark, it's so atmospheric. This is the only way it works for me.
Unless it was Liz Hurley, I would have bought
Oh my
her.
God.
Oh, from Bedazzled.
Thomasin, girl, I'm here to make you an offer.
No, actually, no, because that really is her whole thing in Bedazzled, right? She's just some big slut. So I just want Elizabeth Hurley like reading out this monologue. Wouldst thou like to live deliciously?
Would thou like to live sluttishly? Yes. Okay, so Thomasin is walking naked through the woods, and we're hearing whispers that begin to become chants. We see that there is a group of naked women who are writhing around a bonfire, and I want to know your impressions of this. So obviously the striking final image of the film is Thomasin ascending above the forest, but how do you read the look on her face? Because I wrote in my notes that it's a mixture of what looks like both pain and ecstasy. Do you two read it differently?
Yeah, I think for me it's leaning more into the ecstasy.
Okay.
I'd go maybe like 70 ecstasy, 30 pain. But I mean, to me, the word that springs to mind is just delighted. She's like, yeah.
Got it.
This is me now. Let's do this.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I'm in agreement with you, Becky. I think it's leaning more towards ecstasy and delight. I think I see what you're saying, Joe, in the beginning, where it seems like almost like trepidation, and I think a part of that. I mean, look, I've been talking about this movie. I've said I'm not really a religious person anymore, but I was raised Catholic. But I still have a lot of those Catholic teachings in my brain of like what is and isn't and blah, 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 blah. So
yeah,
I think
the guilt. Yeah.
in a way, though, I think that the trepidation is her final moment of shedding her religiosity, of her
okay.
being like,
I think I agree with
this
that.
is
That's
not
a really good call.
Yeah, like this is not something I should be doing, but I want to do it. And so I think there's a moment of trepidation that she then sheds. And as soon as she's up in the air, I mean, like any of that worry is gone. She is at home. She has found her chosen family. I love the reveal that it's more than one witch.
Yes. So surprising.
Yeah. But yeah, I think, I mean, this is her, you say, like shedding all that religiosity, being like, nope, not my life anymore. I've moved on.
Right.
I kind of love the idea that Black Phillip / the devil / the sexy pirate has like put the call out to all the local witches. It's like, right.
New recruit.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, girls, okay, we've got a new girl joining the gang tonight. I want you to be nice.
Yeah.
Make sure you get the good firewood.
Yeah. Cook up those twins real good so we can have a feast.
Exactly. Obviously, no clothes. You're going to want that baby pate brewing overnight so that we can all fly up in the air because we've got to put on a show for this girl. And they all just like turn up to party.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
Honestly, if we ever, and I know we never would, but if we ever got the Witch 2, it should be from, we're still in Thomasin's POV, but we're on the witch's side as they go back to this plantation that they were exiled from to wreak havoc on the villagers.
Oh my God. That would be very satisfying, wouldn't it?
Would watch.
Would watch. I mean, come on, we're going to get They Follow, the sequel to It Follows, like 10 years later. Why not have Robert Eggers go back and make The Witch 2?
I mean, technically, we've already got that, The Witch and then The Witch 2. It's just that they're really good action movies.
What?
Yeah, there's a pair of, like, I think Korean or Thai films that are called The Witch.
You needed to clarify that. I was like, okay, what are you talking about?
I was like, was this like a direct-to-video? How did I miss this?
Crowdfunded.
Who directed?
We got a lot of product placement from Big Butter, and we just made a sequel.
But I mean, yeah, this is I love, like, we see Thomasin laughing while she's in midair, but her audio is cut out. All we can hear is this unsettling choral score over her laughter.
Yeah, which I think makes it interesting in terms of, okay, how do you read this ending? Like, I think it's very easy to read it as a good for her film, but then, you have raised legitimate issues, Trace, where from a religious standpoint, this is not a happy thing. But then also this suggestion of, why are we getting the ominous music from Eggers if this is a truly good occurrence? Why aren't we getting the happy laughter?
Well, and it's a thing where I think it's good in terms of man's laws, but it's bad in terms of God's laws.
Right.
So, and that's why, like Eggers saying, I keep my religion private. That's why I find it so fascinating. Like, I feel like if we knew Eggers' religion, or at least his thoughts on religion, we would be able to form more of an opinion on what he intended this ending to mean. Even though I do ultimately think, yes, I think ultimately this is a good for her ending. I really do. But I just, like, what if Eggers was this, like, devout Christian? Then what would he think of this ending,
Who knows?
But, yeah, that is The Witch, everyone. And, Becky, I gotta say, thank you so much for coming on to this and giving us all this insight. But as the guest of honor, any final thoughts on this film?
I love it. And, this is 10 years. And I don't think it's aged a day.
No.
I still think it's Robert Eggers' best film. And so every new release, I'm willing him to top it. And I had an absolute blast watching it again. And like I said at the top of the chat, like I think this is the 5th time I've seen this film. And it's still giving every single time. It's the jump scares still work, the dread still works, the beautiful kind of meticulous attention to detail, I think, is one of the reasons actually that it's a kind of ageless film. We've got no CGI effects and stuff like bogging it down. It feels very organic and like just beautifully kind of treads that line between is she or isn't she? At what point does she change? Like, I know that I've got my opinion. I know everybody has their opinion who's seen it, but I kind of love that there's a bit of ambiguity because I think that helps to keep it fresh when you come back and watch it again. And like, I will be watching this movie again and again and again. I think it is spectacular.
I think one of the things I love about it is how it's such a simple story, but it's so well told that we can still have these really fascinating conversations. Like we have disagreed and clarified our position so many times over the course of this episode. And yet the film, if you think about it, is very much just, girl and family move to shit farm and everything gets fucked. The end. Like it's not a complicated story, and yet the way it's told, the way it's crafted, the performances are all so top fucking tier that you can really dig in and have some meaty discussion about it.
Yeah, definitely. Like, this isn't, Mulholland Drive, and yet we've talked for like over 2 hours
now
about like a 90-minute folk horror movie. That's impressive.
I'm surprised because I could actually see this turn into like a stage play, like a stage production. And I'm surprised it hasn't, because I would actually love to see, again, specifically what they would do with the lighting in a lot of these scenes.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, I think this is a movie where, like, I mean, I liked it when I first saw it, but again, wasn't watching it the right way. I think it's a movie that every time I've revisited, which has probably been on par with you, Becky, about 5-ish times, I like it and find more, like, I discover more about it each time I watch it. And that this movie that, again, as you said, is simple on the surface, is 88, the credits roll at the 88-minute mark, but there's so much. There's a density here that's not, I don't think, a barrier to entry. but
so
it's
rich.
Yeah, exactly. Yes,
Yeah.
rich is the right word.
Perfectly
Thank
put.
you. Yeah. But, okay, everyone. Well, that is The Witch. And before we announce what we're covering next week, Becky, let everyone know, where can they find you online?
Thank you so much, guys, for having me. I've had so much fun. Oh, it's been brilliant. You can find me on social media. So I'm Instagram and Blue Sky at Bunny Darke. Letterboxd, I'm Becky Darke. You can listen to me on my weekly Hammer horror podcast, Hammer Time, which I co-host with the brilliant Kevin Lyons. And we are going through every Hammer horror release chronologically, having an absolute whale of a time doing that. It's amazing. And yeah, I'm always over at the Evolution of Horror, pestering Mike about various bits and pieces. And if you want to work with me, you can find me on my website, beckydarke.com.
Lovely.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And yeah, everyone, if you want to get in touch with us, you can reach us on Blue Sky and Instagram at HorrorQueers. Shoot us an email at horrorqueers@gmail.com. Find us on Letterboxd to keep track of all the films we've covered. If you want to chat with other listeners, please join our Horror Queers Discord. If you have a moment, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And if you want more content, please support the show by becoming a patron at patreon.com/horrorqueers. If you subscribe today, you'll get 456 hours of Patreon content, including this month's new episodes on Hannibal Season 3, Episodes 1 and 2, Whistle, The Strangers Chapter 3, Sam Raimi's Send Help, a new audio commentary on 10 Cloverfield Lane, and our continuing coverage of Mike Flanagan's The Haunting of Hill House on our requel tier.
Yeah, good stuff.
Good stuff. But Joe, we've got to dip back into the Patreon vault again next week, because what are we covering?
Folks, we couldn't let a Scream film come out without, revisiting the last entry. This is going to be a little bit of an unusual one because you're going to hear us speculate a lot about what are we going to do to pay off Sam's storyline with her mom and some other shit. And of course, that was all recorded before Melissa Barrera was unceremoniously shown the door, which I'm still not okay with. But yeah, it's a fun episode, and so we're going to talk about Scream 6.
We're going to talk about Scream 6, which, we're not covering Scream 7 this month on the Patreon, but I say it's a good bet that we'll be covering it next month on the Patreon.
Yeah, because it comes out right at the end of February, so.
On my birthday, by the way.
Hey-yo.
Happy birthday.
Oh my god. No, dude, I got Resident Evil 9, the video game, coming out on my birthday. I got Scream 7 coming out on my birthday, and my birthday is also Pokemon Day. So
Jesus Christ. So we'll never hear from Trace again, is what we're saying.
My 37th birthday is going to be I'm literally not leaving my bedroom. It's going to be so fun. Anyway, okay, everyone. Well, until next time, we can cross out The Witch.
Indeed, and cross out Horror Queers.
Today's episode is presented by Mimics, in theaters this February, Friday the 13th. Down on his luck, impressionist Sam Reinhold makes a pact with Fergus, a wicked, strings-attached puppet that holds the promise to propel Sam to stardom, unleashing a nightmare that threatens the safety of those he loves. From the mind of Christopher Palaha comes his directorial debut, Mimics, a bold blend of horror, fun, and romance. Starring Chris Palaha, Mariah, Stephen Tobolowsky, Chris Parnell, Jess Hutch, Jason Marsden, Austin Basis, and more. Opening in theaters February, Friday the 13th.